hello. Welcome. It is Sunday. It is the day of the week in which I do my Warhammer goodness stream with you guys. Welcome. How are you all? Hope you're having a really good bank holiday weekend here in the UK. I sound like Peter Snow doing the thing on Newsnight. Here we are, Tory votes here and Labour votes here, just for fun. Let's get the wheel spinning. Spin the wheel. See who wins the election. Hey, welcome everybody. It is a very long bank holiday weekend here, which means, for those of you outside the UK, it means we get a 3-day weekend if you're a working person. If you have a job of work, you get Monday off because it's a bank holiday. Woo! So I hope you're all enjoying so far your 3-day weekends. Maybe not as much as my gobby, chavvy, mouthy, mindless neighbours at the back who had a big barbecue yesterday, even though it was persisting down all day. Dead long barbecue, all day long, and everything was done at 3 billion decibels. All day. It's like, the biggest mouth-breathing football shouting chavs in the... Oh, God. And they went till like 2 in the morning. Yeah, I just... For the first time in my life, I really wished I had access to ordnance. It was fantastic. Anyway, yes, so I hope you're having a good bank holiday weekend. As always, it's a weekend for me, so I'm working on my Warhammer army, the unending forces of the Holy Contrivance, my Principality of Xeon-themed Warhammer army. Except, I'm totally not. Yeah, bait and switch. I'm not at the minute. Like I've said before, I have many kits that are sitting in boxes on various shelves and in piles in this room, and they're just getting in the way and collecting dust. So what I'm doing is I'm wading through all my Warhammer kits, and I'm just getting them built and then primed and then put in the cabinet, and then I can come back to paint them later on. I just need to get rid of all the boxes. So at the moment I'm working on this Age of Sigmar nonsense. Dave, what Sigmar nonsense? I don't know what this is. I'm working on my Shouty Space Horse. Shouty SPESS Horse. Again, it's just to get the box out of the way so I can put this on the shelf. Now, in the last couple of weeks, we've basically assembled that much, and we've done a couple of legs. We've done some gams. I've got to clean those up and stick them on. So I'm just working on that. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, just carrying on putting this Shouty SPESS Horse together. If you've not watched one of these before, I just kind of crack on with my Warhammer stuff every weekend. Another Sunday, I sit around for 3 hours and let you guys hang out with me in the chat. I do depend on you guys in chat actually giving me stuff to talk about. I've just seen Andy McLeish in chat say, middle-class suburban nonsense. Yeah, that's my kind of catch. I like that catchphrase. Middle-class suburban. Yeah, but they're not. They're definitely lower class. The shouty mouth breathers at the back. Oh, it's just like 15 people all singing Bohemian Rhapsody drunk very loud. Yeah, it's not cool. Anyway, yes. Where was I up to? Yes, if you've not seen one of these before, you can see there's a live chat here. Yay! If you want to join in the live chat and do the typey, I depend on you guys to give me stuff to talk about. If you're in the live chat, put your question in big fat capital letters so I have a chance to see it. My iPad is here so I can see the chat. There's Guthorm, by the way. He's just sneaking in the bottom of the picture. Hello, Guthorm. Do put your questions and comments in chat so I have a chance to see them. If you want to, you can do a super chat, which is the little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat. That just puts your question or comment in a big coloured box and makes a noise at my end so I can hear it. Makes my life a little easier and gives me even more chance. But don't forget, of course, if you can't get access to chat at all, in any way, shape or form, you can send me an email. My email address is always here on screen, fox@modelmakingguru.com. You can always pop me an email if you've got a question. I may well possibly pick it up during the live stream. You never know. But we shall see. As always, if you want to... I've forgotten what's my normal thread now. I've forgotten. I don't know where I'm going. Anyway, yes, as always, if you want to... I really have forgotten how to introduce my videos now. Wow. Hang on. Enormous tea. There we go. Right. Yes, if you've not watched one of these before, as always, we have the stream boss battle going on. Simon Reynolds, our very good friend Kevin, Lord and Saviour Kevin, as his nickname is the current stream boss. It says Model Making Guru, but it's not me. That's because I broke it, and it says that now. It said Kevin for a while, so that's why we call Simon Reynolds Kevin. He's our current stream boss. You can win yourself between 300 to 500 quid worth of Warhammer or Games Workshop goodness by trying to unseat the current stream boss. Basically, every time you do a super chat, the little dollar symbol on the bottom of the chat window, or a tip through the tip jar, which is down there, streamlabs.com/Model Making Guru, you take a bit of Simon's health off. And the more you put through as a tip or a super chat, the more of his health comes off. If you get him to 0, if you're the one that knocks him to 0, you will win a budget that is all the money raised through the super chats and the tip jar, which when Simon got his, it was 499 quid. Basically, I then order for you whatever you want from the Games Workshop or Forge World web stores to your door, absolutely free of charge. You get yourself 300 to 500 quid worth of good stuff, tools and kits, absolutely free. So get your super chats and your tip jars going through. If you're not a subscriber to this channel, of course, you can like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. That also takes a tiny bit of Simon's health off, but not much. But it's worth doing it anyway. What else we got going on? What to think? Now, don't forget, of course, as always, if you want to help support this channel and keep things like this program going and keep me going in this channel, you can support me on Patreon, patreon.com/Model Making Guru. There you go. Right, that's all the nonsense out of the way. As a British person, I'm always very uncomfortable asking for your help and money and doing any kind of advertising. I don't like it, but I have to do it. So there you go. Get out of the way at the start, then we can just talk nonsense for 3 hours. Right, let's have a look at who is in chat. People have been in chat for ages and ages and ages. Let's have a look. And now I don't go right back to the beginning because, as people know, I do half an hour of preamble before the show, and then people are actually in chat for hours before that. Pascal was probably here last week. It starts with Chris at Gross Models. Hey Chris, saying just to Birmingham, that's far enough, they start talking funny. I don't know what that's about. Let's have a look. Pascal Leoverse and Nim are both in as well. Welcome to the two of you. Jamie Bowen says, hi everyone, don't know if I'll be in the stream today because the Monaco Grand Prix is on. Okay, well, if you're not watching the show, that's fine. Don't panic, just enjoy the Grand Prix. Monaco Grand Prix, my very good friend likes the Grand Prix. I hope she was in hospital recently, poor girl. Hope she's back home now, I think, so hopefully she's watching the Grand Prix. She loves the Grand Prix. Let's have a look. Talking about racing. William Rayborn is in. Welcome, William. Quano Man is in. Welcome, Quano Man. We have Michael Storman. Hi all on a lovely day. I would say lovely, apart from it's not. It's windy and rainy here. You know how I've got the bees living in our kitchen roof now? The bees. And I was saying the other week about how there were the cloud of male bees outside the nest, and they just float around like that, and you can watch them through the kitchen window. I looked out the window this morning, and there were none there, and I'm like, oh, it must be too cold for them. And then there was a gust of wind, and all these bees went past the window, and I was like, oh, yeah, they are there. They're just hidden. They all got blown away by the wind, poor little fellows. Gaz Vickers is in. Good morrow, everyone. Welcome. Ascension Industries. Hello. Hey Fox, great seeing you on Gumpler Talk yesterday. Yes, if you didn't watch it, go and watch it. Very big, massive thanks to Zach and Tim, Simon and Josh for letting me join in the Gumpler Talk channel on Zach Aurelius' channel yesterday. Gumpler Talk is their regular little sort of panel show where they chat about news and happenings in the Gumpler world on Zach's channel, Zach Aurelius, and I was asked to join in, and it was great fun. Really great fun. I had a really great time. So big thanks to those guys for letting me join in. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully I didn't make too much of a prat of myself. When I'm on other people's things, I tend to get nervous, and I know it's surprising, but I tend to just waffle on quite a lot about nothing for 20 minutes. Not that I do that normally, of course, you know. Yeah, no. But yes, so thanks for those guys for letting me in. If you didn't watch it, do go and watch it after the stream. Go and have a look. They're a sound bunch of blokes. They're really nice guys. You know Simon anyway, because he does e-models build videos, but you probably know the other guys as well, like Zach and that lot. If you know your Gumpler, you'll know those guys anyway. What have we got else? We've got Andy McLeish is in. Welcome, Andy, my old mate. Dad did pop in, I saw him, but I've not got to that chat yet. Simon Reynolds, Kevin, our Lord and Saviour, is here. We decided to call him Kevitron. He confirmed it's Kevitron 3000. He says, the finest Kevitron model in all the lands. Screw the gargoyle. And I said, this is Kevitron. This is Abomination. Yeah, never mind. It's an old joke. Moving on. Let's have a look. Oh no, Ormans. Who else have we got in? Let's have a look. Wow, Dad came in. Welcome, Dad. Dad's only going to be popping in and out today because he's got other stuff on today, so he's not going to be around all through the show. But thanks for popping in, Dad. It means a lot. It means a lot to me that you're able to pop in, even albeit briefly. We have. I was doing lots of bad typing. For some reason, my keyboard, which I described as an IBM Model M keyboard, the finest in all the realms, is being a bit churlish. And every now and then I'll type some words out and it won't do every letter, so I think I need to clean it out. But if you go and look up the IBM Model M keyboard, it is the best keyboard you will ever own, if you can find one. Mine's not an original IBM Model M, it's a modern remake of it, but using the original mold. So it's an IBM Model M without the IBM logo on it. But if you can find one, get one. It's the best keyboard ever. Anybody old like me, you'll remember the old clicky IBM Model M keyboards. They are the best. PC tips from Fox. No, not PG tips. Scott Sutherland is in. Welcome, Scott. Scott from Orkney, who sent me Guthorm. I adopted Guthorm from Scott. So I've decided to make Guthorm a bit more obvious on these streams, because he always sits up there and you never see him. So I need to make sure he's there. Let's have a look. Who else has come in the last little bit? Nick Butler came in. Welcome, Nick. Candygram for Mongo. Candygram for Mongo. Greetings all. Happy Sunday. Welcome, Candygram. We have... Nick Butler says, and only people in the UK from the 80s will remember this, but he says, words and pictures. Do words and pictures. Yes. Wordy used to terrify me as a child. Ugh. Where are we up to? Interzone 88, welcome Interzone. G'day. G'day, bro. Snowman HFC is in. Welcome, welcome. We have KH, evening all. Welcome, KH. Thy creator is in. Nick Butler says, I am loving this Azabi Discord channel. Gutted to be far too busy taking part. Yes, very, very briefly, before we crack on with the show. If you're not a member of the Model Makers Boom Hut on the Facebooks, and if someone in chat, if one of the mods, if you're still in there, Dad, if you could post a link for the Model Makers Boom. In fact, I can do it. I can do it myself, because I've got a thing ready. Hang on. Doodle-doo. We are doing a group build. Where's my chat gone? Hang on. There we go. We're doing a group build in the Boom Hut, thanks to George. It's a Sazabi group build, and it could be any model of the Sazabi mobile suit from the Gundam universe. Any Sazabi, and it's just a group build that's going to go on till towards the end of September, I think 21st of September. And it was going to be just for fun, but George has very kindly decided to offer a prize. So we have set up a Discord channel for the Boom Hut. There is a Discord channel for the Boom Hut, and I've set up a text channel in that Discord channel just for the group build so you guys can hang out. So if you're already in the Boom Hut, make sure to go and read the Sticky Archive pinned post at the top of the page, the announcement. It's got all the links for you, but do go join the group build, and if not, just join the Discord anyway. Is anyone else getting sound distortion? Do tell me, because I need to know if it's distorting. I need to tweak my volumes. Is it just David Sanderson, or is anyone else getting clipping and distortion? I don't know. I can't hear it, so do tell me. Do tell me, please. I need to know. I'm getting a little bit of red line on the VU meters, but I get that anyway, and it's never usually too bad. No, hello everyone. Oh, Skullfish. Skullfish is in. Welcome, Skullfish. Right, so I think that's everybody. That's a roll call done. Big swig of tea. Ooh, nope, it's fine here, says Nim. Thy creator says no. One other little announcement. Dennis, it's Dennis's last day at work today. Before he leaves his sucky job and goes to do a slightly less sucky job that he's looking forward to. So, good luck, Dennis. You let me know he's doing this his last day at work today. I wrote it down on a bit of paper. I have little notes plastered off camera that you can't see to remind me to do stuff. Like that one there. Lots of little notes to say this and say that, because my memory is just ass. So there you go. Yes, so today we are going to work on the Lord Celestant on a Stardrake, or Shouty Space Horse, as I like to call it. Now, you've got a choice of the Lord Celestant or the Drakesworn Templar. He's got a real kick-ass bow, like a bow and arrow bow, and I want to put that on him, but I also want to have him with the dangly bits around the back, and he doesn't have the bow, so I'm having to bite the bullet and not put the bow on him. But I am making the Lord Celestant on the Stardrake. And we're up to kind of thus parts here. We've got the most of this built. I have the two legs, the two fronty legs, which I have. I think I've got to clean these up. I can't remember if I've done it already. I might have already cleaned up the seam lines, but I'm going to check in a second. And then we can get him glued onto the base and then stuck on the little bits. Because then once the legs are on, he's glued onto the base. We've just got to sort the wings out. Decide whether to glue the wings on or not. I don't think I will, because I need to be able to paint. And then we've got the dude himself, which I need to make. So we'll just see how we go. But we are at the stage of getting things off the sprues and actually, sticking them all together. Simon Reynolds says, no, I am back with a pizza in hand. Shut up! Oh, it's too early. Oh, it's too early for pizza, man. Now I'm really jealous, because now I want pizza. LD says, cheers, Fox, just cracking open the one beer I'm allowed. Yay! He said, yes, last day at work today, beer and Warhammer Sunday this afternoon. I'm like, yeah, go for it. Fox, Skullfish says, Fox, where's a good place to pick up a Sazabi kit? They were in stock at the eModels. I don't know if they're in stock now, though they might well be sold out. I got mine from emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for your model making needs. But in the UK, yeah, getting Gunpla's quite hard. There is a place, Simon, what's the place? Simon mentioned a place that I can't remember what he said it was called. It's a new Gunpla place. So Simon, if you can remember where you got your, where you mentioned the other day, was it Simon? No, not Simon. Yes, it was Simon. Yes, it was. Yeah, if you can let me know where you said. No, it wasn't. It was the other Simon. Oh, I don't know. I'm getting confused now. There's a few places, but I'll be honest. Just go on Amazon. If you can't find somewhere UK that can deliver, like eModels can deliver it next day, obviously. Well, not every bank holiday. There is a new place that's opened up, but I can't remember what it's called. But failing that, just Amazon. Because when you get them from Amazon, they're pretty much from like Japanese sellers, and they often don't charge you shipping, which is kind of insane, or they don't get a massive import charge, so you kind of get away with it. Andy McClear, Skullfish says he's in Scotland. Kate says, sorry, I can't help for the UK. Yes, it's Simon Curry. Not Simon Reynolds. Simon Curry that Recca said somewhere, and I can't remember where he said. Oh, not to worry. But yeah, if you have a look online, basically. But I get a lot of my stuff. I will get it from eModels if they've got it in stock. But if not, I just go to Amazon, because that's what you get for living in the UK. You see, we get crap distribution of Gunpla. No distribution chain in the UK. It's a bit of a take your chances job. Let's have a look. There's a conversation going on there about something. I really bought 3 MCM Comic Con at Skullfish. I was going to offer them to be members for what I paid. Okay, I don't know what that's about. Oh, he got. Oh, sorry. Simon Reynolds says he recently bought 3 Cesarbis. Oh, okay. Oh, right. I totally didn't read that properly. Oh, cool. Okay, so Simon Reynolds has basically got 2 spare Cesarbi kits. Yeah, drop him a message on Facebook. What else we got going on? That Puffin is slowly creeping in for screen time. Yes, he's working his way in. Guns Down is in. Hey, Guns Down. Right, so anyway, let's have a look and see. I can't remember what I did last week. I know I didn't. I did some stuff off screen. I think I need to sand down the little joints. Just a touch. I used the squishy glue method to kind of squish in the glue to hide the seams a bit. The seams weren't too bad on these feet, but I need to sand them a little tiny bit. And I've got this big gaping seam down the middle of this knee armour, which is a right pain in the bum. Because that's a right big gap that I couldn't fill up. So I now have to put some sprue glue in there. And I should have done that really last week and not like now, but never mind. Speedy Curator's in, and Phil East. Welcome, Phil. I know Phil was in earlier, but he says it's the first time he's been in for a while. Right, let's have a look. So let's see what we've got. We have Scrapey Tool, Filey Tool, and many sponge. So let's see what we can do. First of all, let's go over these little bits in the fleshy area. These are quite subtle, so I can probably get away with this here. In this chicken leg texture here on the skin, I just squeezed a little tiny bit of the glue out. So to be blatantly honest, most of the actual gap has disappeared anyway. I just need to give it a little quick sand to make it all level out. And then just bring back the little gaps, the little bits between the skin. Do it in the middle there. The little recesses, bring that back with a sculpting tool, with the panel lining scribing tool. Dead simple. Because it's got little sort of ridges and recesses. Need to bring those back. I think I meant to do all this off screen last week and then got sidetracked and didn't. So, yes, apologies. So I'm literally just very gently bringing back the little recessed. I suppose if you want to call them panel lines, you could do. They're not. It's like the skin texture. It's like the sort of ridged chicken skin. This side there is a panel line down the back of the leg, but being perfectly honest, it's going to be hard to see it anyway, and it's not going to be that easily hidden. So we'll give it a quick squidge over. It's quite a big panel gap there. Oh, nearly spilled me tea. Nearly spilled me tea. It's quite a big panel gap. Like I said last week, unfortunately with this skin texture, it's impossible just to glom in some filler because there's tea there. Let me get rid of that tea. Because you'd lose the skin texture, and I'm not qualified enough as a sculptor to re-sculpt skin flesh details. That wouldn't really work. So may just have to live with that little sort of panel line there. It's a little recess, you can't really see, but it's there. But it's going to be on the inside of the leg, and you're not really going to see it. When this thing is on the base, it's going to be there. It's not like you're going to be looking around the back. I think you'll be distracted by the big shiny gold bloke on the back and all the big massive wings. So I can happily live with that little seam there. It's not the end of the world. And especially if it does end up being played on the tabletop, because I will be selling this, but if it ends up played on the tabletop, then, you know, hey.
Pika pika!
Nobody's going to see it that close anyway. What was that? Oh, Nim, thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you. Bench and belly, folks, says Nim. Yes, there you go. It will pop up in the chat in a moment, I suspect. It can take a few seconds. Let's have a look. Dad says, oh no, Fox, you've said chicken skin. What's on your bench and what's in your belly, folks? Thanks, Dad. And Nim. Yes, thank you very much, Nim. That's very, very kind of you. Taking a little bit of Kevin's health off. Yes, as always, what's on your bench? And what's on your belly? What are you working on at the minute on your model making workbench? And what are you either planning for your dinner, or what have you had for your dinner today? What's on your bench and what's in your belly? So thanks to Nim and Dad for doing that. Today, on my bench is obviously this. Hello. My belly plan for later on is, I think, pizza. Not, you know, pizza from the takeaway pizza, but like pizza from the put it in the oven and make it pizza. I think it will be a mozzarella and tomato pizza with many, many hot dogs cooked and sliced up and placed on top. Here's what I do, right? We get these pizzas that are basically just like very nice mozzarella and very nice slices of tomato. And they're just cheese and tomato, basically, which is boring. So what I do is I get some spring onions. I get a pack of Herta hot dogs. Not a tin. Pack of Herta hot dogs. What I do is I cook up the hot dogs. Slice them into tiny slices. I chop up the spring onions. I sprinkle both of those onto the pizza. And then, get this right, sounds weird, but it's delicious. I then apply a generous helping of maple syrup all over the pizza. Just stick with it. And then I put it in the oven. And when it's a sourdough pizza, so it's soft and flumpy. When it comes out, it is fantastic. It is most delightful. So, I think that's what we're having tonight anyway. Pizza, pizza! Right, now this is the challenging bit, because I've got to... Let's see if I can zoom in a bit for you. So I'm not hundreds of miles away. Zooming down. Roughly. Yeah, we've got this knee pad here, and there's the seam down the middle. Thanks, Games Workshop. You couldn't just put no seam in it at all. Had to be two parts, didn't it? God damn it. So we've got the seam down the middle and a nub there, which is like, oh, you know, oh, frustrating. So I've got to somehow get rid of all that and maintain this crisp edge. But I've got this gap down here, which on the other one is a bit of a pain. And I can't afford to scrape away the lightning bolt detail either. It's like, oh, you could, oh, do you know? Every single time you've done good seam placement is cancelled out by bad seam placement. One single moment of bad seam decision making can ruin an eternity of goodwill. And I've got to try and wangle my little file in here somehow without getting rid of any of the raised detail and without removing the sort of the crisp centre part of the... Oh, it's a right nightmare. I need smallness. Where's my little small thing? Where is it? There it is. I need... Oh. Thanks, Obama. Not. Really is no way to get a sanding device, a file in there at all. Really quite small. Dee. This is frustrating. Thanks, Games Workshop. You monsters. Yeah, so what's in your bench? And what's on your belly? That's not quite right, but near enough. You know what I mean. How's that looking? Is it? Oh, yes, it looks terrible. Wow, that looks pretty bad. Trying to think what else has been going on. Other news. I don't think of any other news, to be honest. I'm still sanding and denubbing the Cesabi parts. That will be continuing for a while. Mayhap for a while, that bit. I can also confirm. I mentioned it on the show yesterday, but I can also confirm that thanks to the very good kindness of D'Agostini. Yes, you remember the Millennium Falcon that I got 6 episodes in? Yeah. I am going to be doing and filming the Build Your Own X-Wing part work, which is the 1/18th scale X-Wing, Luke's X-Wing fighter build. That they're going to provide it for me, and they're providing the actual magazines for me, which is really, really nice of them. Which is super nice. And I figured, well, although I had to stop doing the Millennium Falcon because it was the size of a house and literally twice as wide as my workbench here, the X-Wing, I can probably just about fit it on my workbench. I can, when I film doing anything on it, once it's got the wings and things on, I can easily move my hobby zone things just to one side. So that's not going to be so bad. So I will be doing that. They're going to be sending me the first 3 issues soon. And then we'll take it from there. So just so you know. But don't forget, it won't just be me doing it. Chris at Gross Models, one of our lovely mods, you know him in chat there. Chris is also doing this series, and he started doing it first. So make sure to watch his videos as well. He's got the first, I think, 2 or 3 episodes up, issues up. So make sure to watch his build as well. I mean, what I'm going to do is I'm going to approach it by basically, in the interest of time, at least for the moment, because I've got my Cesabi and my Falcon and other things to do, I'm going to obviously just follow the magazines and get the thing built. And then once that's done, this will be in a year or 2 when it's actually finished, I'll then go back to it. I'll then go back in and sort of repaint the whole thing properly. Because I want to see what it looks like without being repainted first for those people who are just building along. So that should be hopefully getting the first few issues in the next week or 2, hopefully. And luckily for me, it'll literally be like, you know, a couple of hours work a month, because you only get, I think, a couple every 5 weeks or something weird like that. And I'll just be following the magazines. So it'll be a little bit of screwing things together and that, so I can quickly do an episode each month, and it won't impact my existing workload at all. Right, I think that's about clean now. Wow, Games Workshop, there's a really bad seam line placement. Thanks, Obama. And I've got one at the bottom here. Now on this leg, this seam line very nicely disappeared when I did the gluey, sticky glue squidginess effect. That's perfect, that'll be hidden once I get primer on that, not a problem. What I will do as well is get a little tiny bit of Tamiya Extra Thins. Doodle 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 doo. There's a little bit of sanding dust in that gap, so I will very quickly get a little bit of extra thin and just run it over. And that will seal that gap even more. Same with this. If there is a tiny little gap there, so I'll just run some extra thin over the top. It'll get rid of any obvious sanding marks in advance of me priming it, and it'll also melt any little bits of sanding dust just into the gap. So that'll be done nice. So that can that's good to go. Have I got any seam lines on the feet? Yes, little ones, but I think I've looked to take care of these already. But I'll just quickly give them a once over. Doodle-doo. I can't wait to paint this thing, you know. Now, like I said, I am doing a Xeon-themed, Principality of Xeon-themed Imperial Army in 40k. This is nothing to do with that. This is just purely me clearing boxes out of my stash to make space. So once this is built, I'll get it primed. I'll slap some primer all over it. And then once it's primed, it'll just sit in my display cabinet, primed, for a while. Until I get time to paint it. And then once it's painted, I'll be putting it up for sale. So I'm guessing probably toward the end of this year, later on this year. Like I say, right now at the moment, my priorities are the Sazabi for George, because it's a Patreon reward build, and it's George's. So the Sazabi for George, which is going to be a big project. As soon as that's done, I then need to move on to the Bandai Perfect Grade Millennium Falcons. That's after the Sazabi Baba Baby. And then when they're done, I've got like 1 million issues of Warhammer Conquest to catch up on. I really do have like millions of them. I'm on issue 15. I've just received issue 37. So, yeah, I'm a little bit behind. It's just a question of time. It's finding the time to do it. Because even just painting them up, as the magazine says, when you're filming, because you might think, okay, well, you get, 4 magazines a month. It's a couple of days' work to just get them. If I'm painting them up like the magazine, it's a couple of days' work. Yep, that's true. But I'm also filming as well, don't forget. That lengthens the process significantly. Right, we've got any more seam lines on that then to worry about, or is that okay? I think that is okay. Oh no, there's one at the back there. Little sneaky little devil in here. Get out. I have to go against my better judgment and use a modelling knife for this, because it's so tight. I don't like using a modelling knife for getting rid of seam lines. It's too scrapey, scratchy. Scratchy, scrapey! Let me know if I'm just getting my enormous head in shot, by the way. I've zoomed in now, so I don't know where my head is. There we go. Twill suffice. I'll give these talons a bit of a sand because they've got some sort of glue residue on there. Beauty of the Tamiya Extra Thin, if you do get any splodgy glue messes, unlike something like Revell Contactor, which is of course very thick and gloopy, or even the regular Tamiya cement, with the Extra Thin, if you get any glue, if you get excess glue on it, all you need to do is let it dry and sand it, and it goes away really quickly. Right, let's have a quick look at the chat. Let's have a look. Has the Zaku stream chat group recovered from the British invasion? Asks Spid. Oh, poor Spid. I feel sorry for yesterday, Spid. Spid was watching this the Gunpla Talk stream yesterday and hadn't got a clue what was going on for the first half of it when we were talking about, like, the actual kits and stuff. He's like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I think they're alright. It was Alexa Doof Studios that was doing the modding for them. And they only have one mod. And I think we basically caused a little bit of chaos. The difficult thing is, of course, that like my chat, you see, you guys are all interacting with me and I'm interacting with you and I'm still zoomed in. That doesn't really matter. But I think with that show, their chat, it's not that kind of chat. On that show, it's more of you're a live studio audience kind of thing. So you guys are all like in there having fun. Bless them. Right, where are we? LD says, hi Dad, the drugs have lowered my blood sugar as well. My go-to meal is bacon, avocado and 1 brown toast. That sounds really nice, actually. Belly pizza currently been installed. Bench my BB-8 inspired Sazabi. Denubbing hell, says Simon Reynolds. Yeah, I feel your hell. I feel your pain, dude. Orcs, says Dad. Orcs need more DACA. Thy creator says Bench Providence Gundam special coating. Oh, and Belly nothing. I just watched a movie with the family. Cool. Thy creator, yeah, special coatings. Oh, I can't do metallic and special coatings just purely because of the issue with nubs. I can't do it. I need to blow my nose. If the whole kit isn't undergated, I can't do it. I'm just gonna blow my nose, folks. 1 second. There we go, that's better. Yeah, I can't do it. As I was saying on the Gunpla Talk yesterday, I would give my kidney, and when they released the Meki plated gold Fennecs, I'm like, oh, I need that in my life. Yeah, I don't care if it's a perfect grade unicorn that I don't want to make. I need it. And then it was like, oh wait, it's mecha plated. I never want to build that ever. Yeah. So good luck with that. It should be quite nice. It'll look fantastic. I think that might be quite a good one because it's not too bad. It's not too... If I remember rightly, it hasn't got a lot of undergating, so you might be quite good with that one. But it'll still look good. But yeah, I haven't got the patience. I'm too messy in my building and denubbing for them to survive. Pascal says, German soup in my belly and a sniper girl from Kotobukuya and my bench and a small kind of like frame arms girl. Cool. Do put pictures of that Providence Gundam in the boom hut, by the way, though. Thy creator. Let us know what it's like for nubs and stuff. Oh, I do apologise. More tea. Nim says, bench, tiny 1/100th crew. Belly, I can't choose between cheeseburger or pancakes. There is another option. Both. Philly says, also on my bench is a few German World War II bits for a planned diorama. But it's nice to do a green skin, bit of change. Belly, nothing good yet. Bench is orcs. And that's why Dad said orcs. I missed that. Thy creator says, might get some ramen. Oh, it's always the right answer. David Sanderson is planning Chinese and on bench, Space Marines Intergressors. I know what you mean. Good effort. Speedy Q8 says, Hertha Frankfurter in big fat capitals. German soup, is that code for beer, says Nim. Interzone's working on Death Guard Plague Marines, just got Librarian from Warhammer Conquest issue 8, because it's now available in Australia. If you're an Australian and you're not aware yet, the Warhammer Conquest partwork is available in Oz. So g'day, get it now. Philly's got a Schwimmwagen, a Stug and an anti-tank gun planned, going to try getting the Schwimmwagen coming out of a resin lake river. Nice. Schwimmwagen is the little four-seat German World War II vehicle that was also amphibious. A bit like the Kubelwagen, but amphibious. Scott's Little has super noodles in the belly. Super noodles, good effort. Various Magak 6B parts on the bench because IDF, of course. Quanaman at bench has the second of 3 Mark II Titans, and belly is getting all stuff with all the pies. Yes. Let's have a look. Gaz Vickers says on the bench he's got the Edward Profi Pack MK9 Mark 9C Early Spitfire MK9. Edward Profi Pack Mark 9 Early Spitfire, a set of Orc boys, and for Dindins we are off to Frankie and Benny's. Oh yeah. I'm walking here. Good New York food. LD's got a few HD00 Diver sword rifle things. Belly, there is no plan. There should always be a plan. Dad says he's been messed about by Vodafone, been told him to shove it. But need to go with, who am I with? I'm thinking I'm with O2. I don't know why. I've been for like 15 years or something. KH had pasta for dinner on the bench. Is my custom Dom working for Australia GBWC. Is it you doing the thing in the big circular thing? Because that looks fantastic. Yeah, I do apologise about that. Don't forget, there's often no connection between a name on the YouTubes and a name on the Facebook, so if I don't know who people are all the time. So yeah, is that you doing the big tube thing with the Dom? Because that looked brilliant. Go and have a look in the boom, what everybody. It's like a big white tube with a Dom in the middle, and I have to say that Dom looks well like an absolute unit because it's just in primer. It looks so chunky. I love chunky. Oh yeah. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Andy McLeish says, no, but I wouldn't trust live chat telesales advisors as far as I can throw them. The amount of issues I've had facing returns and cancelling orders. Don't know what you're talking about. Gross model, just in quickly, stopped at Cadbury World, need to buy some chocolate. Oh, he's on the road. He's on the road. Gino Valderrama says, hey all, happy end of the weekend. Hey Gino, not in the UK because we've got tomorrow off. It's a bank holiday, so it's a 3-day weekend for us here in the UK. Hoorah! Although, because I don't actually do go to a job of work anymore, it's like, this is what I do for a living, so I don't have a bank holiday. So I've actually forgotten when all the UK bank holidays are, so unless I'd read it somewhere, I wouldn't have known. Speedy Correct just made a Philly and banana sandwich on brown bread. It's delicious. Ooh, I like the sound of that. LD says, seen a few discussions about the new Games Workshop paints. They have caused a few intense debates. That'll be the new contrast paints. I haven't tried them yet because they're not out, obviously. For some reason, Games Workshop didn't decide to send me a set of them to test out. I have no idea why. It's almost like they don't know anything about me or who I am. God damn it. Yes, so I haven't tried them yet, so I have no idea. I think there's a lot of potential. But if you go onto the Warhammer community website, some of the example photographs they've got up there, some of them look really good. Some of them look terrible. That Tower Rifleman with the... Oh, God, it's like painted by a 5-year-old? What? Yeah, they need to make a bit more effort like that. Dad says he's been with Vodafone since the brick phone days, never had any problems. I started off with T-Mobile back in the day, and I'm with O2. I mean, I've had O2 for... I don't know, since mid-2000s, early to mid-2000s, never had really a problem. Occasionally they'll phone me up and say, we want to try and save you some money on your bills, and we'll go through and they'll be like, okay, I can't save you any money because you just use it for basically text message at every occasion. I don't use my phone for much. My phone gets used for very little. So, they can't save me any money on my bills. Yes, that's mine. Sorry, name doesn't show on YouTube. It's getting close to finish now. Kirk, yeah, it looks fantastic. Speedy Correct says, not in NHS, employed Scotland land, work as normal tomorrow. Oh. Can you just phone in sick? Then technically it's bank holiday. Philly says, I think the new paints are a great idea, awesome for people who want a quick army and probably useful for display painters too. That's about the contrast paints. I think that's the thing that a lot of people, because I'm seeing the same kind of debates online, and I think a lot of people are forgetting. They're saying, proper hardcore painters are like, slap the paint on and it's like half an arse job. It looks terrible. Then they're not the market for those paints, although they'd probably find some use for them if they actually open their minds a little bit. The market for those paints is people who don't paint and have no experience painting, but they've got an army and they want to have them not grey plastic. But they don't know how to paint, and they haven't got maybe the time to learn how to paint or to dedicate to painting properly. There's a lot of people out there who have no concept of how to paint. To all of us, right, you have to remember, and I said this on the show yesterday, there's a lot of people out there, we all, to various degrees, we all have a knowledge of how things work, how paints work and how weathering works and things like that. We have a concept, but you have to remember there are people out there who wouldn't necessarily even know which end of a paintbrush to use. When they say a painted model, to them it's just this dark magic, and they're like, I don't even know how you would do that. Sorry, I got really tickly throat. Whereas, I could show you a painted miniature, and most of you in the chat would say, well, I can see how you paint that, and you kind of know roughly how you would paint something. You'd look at something and say, well, I could paint, if that was a plastic painted kit, you'd be like, well, I know the kind of colours I could use for that, I know how I do this faded effect. You'd have a rough idea, but there are people that be like, oh, wow, I've got no idea how you do that. And to them, that's who this is aimed at. People who, they haven't got the time or the inclination to spend months and months learning how to paint even just a tabletop standard. It's not something you can pick up and do straight away. But it's a way for people with no experience, and maybe not even the budget to start investing in all the paints, to just spend a bit of money, spend a little bit of time, and they get an army that may not be, the best thing in the world. It may not be like the kind of standard we paint it. Of course it's not. It's not display standard, but it's tabletop level. It's going to look good on the table from 3 feet away. And to me, that's a brilliant idea, and I don't see a problem with that. And the fact that, you get these kind of like professionals, and I use that word as ironically as possible. You get these like proper hardcore painters saying, oh, this is just nonsense. It's just opening the floodgates to crap painting. It's like, no, it's opening the floodgates to people who would never get a chance to paint otherwise. And I think those people need to shut up. It's just another arrow in the quiver. I don't see how you could be negative about them without forgetting that not everybody knows how to paint. If people are negative about them, I think they're being very narrow-minded about it. Let's have a look. Foobits is in. Welcome, Foobits. Also shelled out for a set of God Hands SN120s. So many junk snips out there. Yes. Yes! Woohoo, I could go there and pop into E-Models, Andy, so no. I don't know what that is. LD says, Vodafone, I get great deals. Don't forget, of course, other mobile operators are available. We are not sponsored by Vodafone or any telecoms operator. I get great deals. First, cancel and wait for a call. Tell them what phone and what you want. Say no to the other offer and ask them to ring in a few days. Ignore the offer and wait if you're playing the system there, aren't you? LD got the Huawei P20 for £23 a month. Huawei. And Dad says, and the Chinese government knowing what you're up to. Yeah, there is that. I mean, I've been with O2 for like, 15, 20 years, and I've got my iPhone. I don't really care. I mean, I literally use my mobile phone for very occasional incoming texts, or very occasional text to arrange something. And other than that, it's kind of really just for Pete Mate to call me and panic because something needs doing, or, or whatever. I get very, very occasional calls, and very, very occasional text. And most of the time, I don't hardly use it. It's more just a good address book to store important information on. To be honest, it's just a way to store the stuff if I need to get hold of someone. Most of the time, I don't use it. So I just quite happily have my phone for 3 or 4 years, and then by the time it comes to renewal time, I can probably get a couple of generations back iPhone for absolutely nothing. So, yeah. Anyway, let's crack on. So we're doing the this leg now. Let me do the zoomy. Zoomy. You can see here I've put this convenient marker so I know where the centre of the screen actually is. So if I manage to go off shot at all, then I'm just being even more of a spoon than I am normally. So there you go. Same for me, Fox. £12 a month, says Philly. I think I'm paying about £11 a month. I managed to last time I renewed my contract, got a brand new, well, it was a brand new iPhone 6, but the iPhone 7 was already out. It was a brand new iPhone 6, and I managed to get my bill dropped by about £10 a month. So I've got a brand new phone, and it cost me less. I don't. Hasaki Art, welcome Hasaki Art. Welcome. So yeah, it's. I mean, I really don't use my mobile phone much at all. It's literally for things like, just arranging a get together with 1 or 2 people. For arranging for my mates Busby or Martin to come round. Hey, we're getting together and eat noodles. Yeah, cool. There you go. Done. 2 text messages a month. I use it for. I access email sometimes if I'm out and about. You know, it's just I very, very rarely use it for phone calls. I have to say, in the last 10 years, I've gone from, making phone calls every day to I never make phone calls. And I can guarantee you, over a year, I might receive maybe 20 calls on that phone. And of those 20 calls, 19 of them are numbers I don't know that I don't therefore answer and get blocked instantly. I just put it, so it's kind of more, it's a convenient thing. Wow, hang on, clear my throat. The beauty of not using it for phone calls as much as when you do get a number comes through and it's not in your address book. My basic thinking is, if you're not in my address book, I don't need to speak to you. So if a call comes through and it just says, if it says unknown number, never gets answered ever. If it says the number but doesn't come up as a name because it's not in my address book, I just let it ring off. I figure if it's something important, they'll leave a voicemail. If they don't, it's probably a cold call. And if they don't leave a voicemail, if I'm near a computer, what I'll do is I'll quickly look it up and see who it is. And 10 times out of 10, I can guarantee you it's a spam call. I'll find it's a spam. I'll look up line and go, oh yeah, you're blocked, and just block it. That's the thing. If it's somebody I know that's in my address book, then I'll always answer. If it's somebody I don't know, they're not in my address book, I never ever answer it. Because it's not once in the entire history of anything has it ever been a call I should have taken. Occasionally I'll forget and pick up the phone and be like, oh, it's a robocall, or it's a sales call, or something like that. So yeah, so I hardly ever use it. So I don't need a mobile phone, but it's just there really for emergencies more than anything else. Which is why I don't worry about having the latest and greatest iPhone. It's why I can be 2 generations behind on an iPhone, and to me it's still a brand spanking new phone. Because I don't need brand spanking new. I don't need to be all super duper. I currently have 2 iPhones, an iPhone 5S and an iPhone 6S, I think. The iPhone 5S was very kindly given to me by Dad. Thank you, Dad, because my other one broke, and that's purely for filming. That's what I film my videos on. And the iPhone 6 is my normal phone, and that hardly gets used for anything, really. I don't use it for filming because on the iPhone 6S camera is absolute ass compared to the iPhone 5S camera. They changed the software, I'm sure. It's horribly overexpensive. Everything's too light. Everything comes out, the white balance is well off. So I just can't use it for filming because it's a pain in the bum. So, yeah. It's weird how the next generation of phone, and yet it's worse for the camera. I just use my phone for music or podcasts and work, says Guns Down. I don't even use mine for that. I've got an iPad. The only time I listen to music is in the car when I've got a stereo, or here at home when I'm working or listening to podcasts, and that's just my PC that does that. My mobile has replaced my laptop, says LD. I'm finding a lot of use for my iPad. I inherited my mum's old iPad, which is an old iPad, original iPad 2, I think. And it was great in the day, but it wasn't long before it just became a piece of garbage because it was too slow and terrible. That's now been inherited by my very good friend Busby, because he'll find some use for it. But I got myself a new iPad, which is this one. It's an iPad whatever, I don't know what version they are. It never says anyway. And I'm finding it now. I mean, I got this iPad literally 100% to just have chat when I'm doing live streams. That's the only thing I needed it for. However, recently what I found is absolutely valuable, and I found this last summer, bizarrely, is that if I'm playing on the Xbox, I sometimes, I have a lot of conversation going on Facebook all the time, various different groups, and during the real hot summer months, I can't sit here with my Xbox on and my computer on, because it just becomes like 1 trillion degrees, and it's not a good thing at all. So I've sanded that down, but it's like, yeah, it's gone a bit smooth. How did the other one come out? Smooth as well. Yeah, they've come out. They had a crisp centre part, but now they're more just like rounded. But not much I can do about that, unfortunately. If they want to put a seam line right down the middle and then give me no room to do lots of sanding because of the details, not much I can do about that. Yeah, so in the real hot summer months, what I'll do is I will have my Xbox on, so I can play my game, whatever I'm playing, but I'll have my iPad on as well, on the desk, and I can use the iPad to keep an eye on to any conversations I've got going on the Facebooks, and I can just turn my computer off completely, just turn it off, done, and it means my room doesn't hit 5,000 degrees. It's a godsend. Haven't quite got to the stage of listening to music and stuff through it though, because it's a little pokey speaker. Or I could listen to podcasts through it, but I don't know. I don't know if I can bother swiping all my podcasts. I don't even know how I transfer all my podcasts to the iPad, to be honest. And no, I'm not going to use iTunes. I refuse to install that crap. The software for oh god, it's terrible. Terrible software that never makes any sense. Where's me script? There it is. Let's have a look. Chat says, the camera on my brother's is incredible, says Phil East. Discovered the other day you can actually make and receive phone calls on these smartphones. Rang and scared the crap out of me, says Spid. Yeah, no, who'd have thunk it? Do you get robocalls in the UK, says Guns Down in Hale. We do. Unlike in the US, where you get robocalls about please vote for this candidate for whatever, and you got all kinds of stuff. We do here, but they're mostly for things like PPI, which is personal insurance, accident insurance. There was a big scandal a few years ago about banks that sold you personal protection insurance for over, when you took out a loan or a mortgage, they sold loads of personal protections. If you lose your job, you can continue to pay your loan payments, things like that. They missold a lot of them about 10 years ago. This scandal erupted where banks had to kind of admit that they'd missold and overcharged for these things, and consequently like millions and millions of people got loads of refunds and stuff. But it spawned this whole generation of companies that just existed to dig these out and contact you and say, hey, you could be owed a lot of money by your bank, and if you win, we'll take a cut of it. So you get these constant spam calls all the time. You may have a PPI claim. I think it's kind of come to an end now, really. They did a lot of legislation against it in the end, and I think it's kind of come to a natural end anyway, because there was a deadline on it. But you still get them. It's mostly things like just scam calls. You get a lot of. You get lots of people who work from home, and what they do is they work on behalf of. There's companies that will charge you to move your services from provider A to provider B for whatever those services might be it gas or mobile or electric or anything like that, and things like mobile providers, mobile contract providers like Carphone Warehouse and stuff. They know when your contract's due. They know when you're due to renew your contracts, and they'll give you a call. They'll try. It's just sales calls. Like, you don't get them a lot. On mobile, on landlines you do, and they can be a real problem because obviously by default over here numbers are not X directory. Every phone number is listed unless you want to go X directory. So on landlines, yes, it's a problem. On mobiles, not so much because, you know, who has your mobile number? It's harder to get someone's mobile number than it is landlines. So it's not a major thing. It happens. It happens. We do get just the silent calls, which you know. I mean, I've worked in call centres and I've worked with dialers where they just make outbound calls and then they make what happens is when you get a silent call, the dialer system in a call centre, it has a big list of numbers. And what happens is it goes to the next number on the list, it places a call to that number, and then as soon as it places the call, it then tries to assign that call to an agent who can then do the call, who's free. But what sometimes happens is the dialer places the call, so your phone starts to ring, but by the time you've picked up the handset, the system hasn't assigned the call to an operator because there isn't anybody spare. So you get the call where you pick up the phone, you're like, hello, and there's nothing. It's not because anybody's terrorising, it's purely because it hasn't been able to get the call to an operator, or it's assigned the call to an operator and that operator's phone is ringing, but they haven't picked it up yet. Because, you know, if you worked in those kind of sales departments, you sit at your desk and your phone rings and you pick it up and then it connects a call and it's you calling them, but, you know, you don't get that impression. You're not physically calling them. And I think they tried to get rid of those systems for a long, long time because apparently it was terrorising old people. Old people didn't know what this was. They had no idea. They're just getting all these silent calls. And, you know, old people can be easily confused and scared by things like that. So, but that's the thing. Mobiles, dead simple rule. If you don't recognise the number, it doesn't put somebody in your address book, don't answer it. Don't answer it. Dead simple. If it gives me the number, I can look it up. I'll never answer it, but I'll look it up. If it gives me number unknown, goodbye. So look, Quano Man says I got about £3,000 back from the PPI things before the big blowout on the news. The thing is, the sad thing was, the whole PPI thing, it was a valid thing. The banks did ridiculously, fraudulently overcharge people for like loan insurance where none of it was needed. And they had to, by law, then give it back. They were forced to give it all back, and that's where it came from. And banks were forced to actually do little audits and say, yes, we owe this person money, we should give them a lot of money, which was great. But then the companies jumped onto it saying, hey, we can make some money here by seeking these things out and telling people they've got money owed to them. So, yeah. Right, where am I up to now? I did the tail. Oh, I stuck the tail on last week, by the way. Yeah. And I put a post up in the boom hut, and I'll zoom out again. But the tail here, there's part of this tail is joined to is part of the tail, and part of the tail is joined to the torso. Now, if I was to try and find where that actually went together, I can tell if I look here. There's a little join there. You can just about see it on camera. But if you look on this side, I put it together, I held it in place, and I went, I'll get the glue. And I was like, where do I put the glue? I can't tell you now. It's actually, the only way I can tell is because there's a bit of shininess where I put the glue. It's somewhere here that these two parts of the tail join together. It's completely invisible. It's just utterly, utterly invisible. It's just that little bit there where the little line's a bit deeper that gives it away. Brilliant, fantastic stuff. Thank God robocalls are illegal over here, says Vincent at Mr. Lowe's Model Making. You still get telemarketers, but it's always a person at least. I think they're supposed to be making them illegal or finable over here. There are lots of fines and things that can be had. But I think it's just, yeah. Let's have a look. I upgraded the webcam I used to record the T800 videos and found I've got a crappy picture, says Quano Man. Crappier picture. The webcam that a lot of us use is the Logitech C920. But by default, it is set to 720p. You have to go into the settings and stuff and make it 1080p. It also depends on the lighting. For example, if I turn off... I've got this is on 1080p. It might not look 1080p to you on the stream because it's been streamed and compressed by YouTube. But at my end, it looks quite nice. But if I've got it set now, if I turn off just one light, not major difference. If I turn off, say, the overhead lights, it's not gone too dark. But what you'd find is if I turn off this light, it's actually really light in this room. But you guys can't see that now because it's the sensitivity light. But the other thing, of course, is when it goes dark, it affects the bit rate because it's struggling to see, so it automatically puts the exposure up. Unless you turn automatic exposure off, it will increase the exposure. And as the exposure goes up, the frame rate drops. And I learnt this, especially with this camera. You can't have the exposure too high. If you've got things like automatic exposure and white balance, if you turn all the lights off, the camera will try and adjust. It'll try and get an exposure so it can get enough light in. But the higher the exposure, it means it's taking in as much data. It's trying to get in as much light as possible. So the higher the exposure, the lower your frame rate, the lower your quality. So there's a lot of different things to consider. Lots and lots of lighting is your best friend. Just try and take a photograph with a smartphone indoors on a dull day. It'll look dark because there's not enough light. Digital cameras are a bit sucky like that. So it's all about lighting. Check your settings as well, but make sure you've got some decent settings. I get so many asking for remote access to repair my PC, says Felix. Oh yeah, you get the people saying, hi, I'm calling from Microsoft. No, you're not. No. Gino Valderrama says, anyone have recommendations for restoring details that were lost due to oversanding? He zoned out. Yes, get yourself a scribing tool. This is a Tamiya scribing tool. You'll need two things, a scribing tool of some sort, and the Tamiya ones are really good. They're dead simple, and you do get some spare blades in here. If I can get the thing open, you've got some spare blades in there. They're really simple to use. You just literally scribe the line back in. You need two things. You need one of these, a scribing tool, and you also need, if it's panel line, say on a Gunpla, I would recommend Dymo tape, D-Y-M-O, Dymo tape. The older, I've said this before, but the oldsters amongst us will remember we used to get things that you put this tape in, you press the thing, and you might name labels and stuff. It would press the label in. It's a very stiff plastic tape, and when you put it down on a surface, I shall do it now. Let me find some scissors. When you put it down on a surface, it's not like masking tape that's all flexible and wibbly wobbly. If I put down some Tamiya masking tape, let's get some Tamiya tape. Let's get something to put the tape on. Get something bigger to put the tape on. Hang on. There we go. Right. Bits. Oh, it's got that on there. So if we've got two pieces of plastic, a piece of plastic, we've got a piece of Tamiya masking tape, and we'll put a piece of Dymo tape down, which is a thick, stiff tape. And it's actually really hard to get the backing paper off. Oh, give it half an hour, I'll get the tape off. Oh, come on now. There we go. It's quite thick, and you can actually give yourself a nasty cut with it if you're not careful. This goes on. Now, you need to make sure you're doing all this bare plastic. If you put this stuff on a painted model, you rip all the paint off. I mean, it's hardcore tape. And what you do is, you basically get your scribing tool. You draw on the plastic part first where you want the panel line to go. So you draw that down so you know where it's going to go. You put your Dymo tape down, you get your scribing tool, you put it flush against the side. I know it's kind of a funny angle here. Flush against the side, and very gently, with no pressure at all, you just move you drag the scriber slowly and carefully along the edge of the tape. Oops. No, hang on, it's not sticking out very far. Let's stick it out a bit further. There we go. Yes, so very, very carefully and slowly, you just gently drag it along. Oops. Now, I wouldn't recommend having it at 45 degrees like I've got. That's just so you can see what I'm doing. You don't put any pressure on it. Because what you do is you do that once, then you do it again, twice. Then you do it again, 3 times. And you keep going till you've got your panel line scribed to whatever depth you want. And the reason why things like scribing tools are really good is because they give you often a nice square trench that you cut. If you use a modelling knife like this, where's my knife gone? If you use a hobby knife like this, it's a thinner blade, it's a flexible blade. More often than not, you're going to slip and just cut into the tape or go off like that and scrape across your model. This thing is quite stiff and solid, and it gives you a nice square cut, or a rounded cut depending on the blade. And all you do is you keep doing that. When you finish doing your panel line, you can simply peel the tape up. You won't see it on there, unfortunately. You peel the tape up, and then you go off and do your next, but you can use the same piece of tape, do your next panel line. If there's a panel line going across it, you put it across there, and you do the same again. Now, the reason this stuff is good is because if you do it with masking tape, this stuff is just paper. I can easily push that out of the way, no effort at all. With this stuff, it ain't going nowhere. That ain't going nowhere. It isn't going anywhere. Look, it's plastic. And the reason you don't go in straight away, if I press down really hard, like this, first of all, the chances are you'll slip and do a real gouge somewhere else. So if you're doing it very gently and you do slip, you've only done a very slight scratch. You can probably sand that way. If I'm digging in and I go like that, I've ruined the model. The other reason is it can give you a really messy, untidy panel line. It might give you a neat one, but the chances are it's going to be a bit scrabbly. You'll get some rough edges. If you do it gently, you can control how deep the panel line goes, and if you do slip, you're not going to do a lot of damage. Also, don't go like this. Go in one direction. And if you come to an edge like this, for example, you've got an edge here, what I tend to do is I go up to the edge about here. So I don't go right to the edge. I'm about here. I'll do my panel line. And then when it's time to do this bit, because I want it to go off the edge, I'll come back and I'll go that way. And I'll just run it across the edge. That way, it's easier to go that way off an edge than it is to go that way off the edge. Because if I'm trying to do this, and the blade is there, it's going to go ting and skip and jump, and I'll scratch the surface. So whenever you get to an edge, don't go right up to the edge, do the rest of it, and then come back and do it that way. But scribing is actually quite easy. The hardest thing about scribing is actually getting the panel lines to look good. If you're adding, say, if you've got the master grade, the O, which needs seriously a lot of scribing on it, then it's coming up with interesting looking panel lines. It's really great fun. Now, sometimes you're doing non-panel line scribing. You're doing little organic things like this, and like I said on here, this lumpy bit of skin here, this kind of skin texture, it's lots of ridges. Once I've sanded that down, like you see here, there's a bit where I didn't sand that bit. Let me find a bit. There's a bit here where I had some... Where did I do it now? Oh, I must have done it well because I can't find it. Anyway, like for example here, there's a little bit of a seam line here. So I did sand that, and all I did was very gently run the scriber. Once I'd sanded it down, run the scriber along the little recesses, and it just brings that back. And especially for things like if you're building a Space Marine with a plasma weapon, and it's got that ribbed bit on the top where the glowy coils are, this is great for just getting the seam line out of, say you've got like a ribbed area here and there's a seam line right down the middle. Sand it at the top, not too much, and then when you're finished, drag your tool along the ribbed sections, and it just gets rid of any seam line that might be stuck in those gaps, and it brings them back out again. So this is a really invaluable tool. It's super awesome. Get yourself one. I mean, I've not used any of the others, but I know I just from using this, I love this. There probably are better ones, and you can also get little chisels as well, but I've not tried those. But yeah, seam lines, panel lines, they can be fun. Let's have a look. Speedy Correct says, that's not always correct, Fox. Sometimes those silent calls are spiders calling you to freak you out and check if you're alone. Speedy Correct says, at least we don't get robocalls asking, I'm looking for Sarah Connor. Come with me if you want to live. Guns Down says, I made a gaming PC and I barely use it now. It makes me a little sad because no good games are out. There's loads of good games. Loads of good games. Depends what games you want. I mean, I haven't really bought any... Did I say bought? I haven't bought any games. I'm making up words now. Shall I do some work? I haven't bought any games, proper new games for ages, but for the last sort of 2 or 3 years, I've got so much use and fun out of Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, Destiny 2, just because they're games where you get a lot of mileage. I'm playing through Fallout 3 again. Seriously, Fallout 3 is an 11-year-old game, and it's really kind of broken by today's standards in a lot of ways, but it's also a fantastic game. So if you're struggling for games, if you're kind of a Twitch shooter type and you like your Call of Duty and stuff, then yeah, you're a bit screwed because good luck with that. But if you like a more, not necessarily cerebral experience, but a more time investment sort of scenario, where you do get a bit more mileage out of it, then go for some things like maybe, you know, Fallout 4 was all right. It's not bad. Fallout 3 is good. But those kind of games where you've got not necessarily open world, but more to do, even like Destiny 2. Destiny 2, yeah, it's a bit pants, but you can still get a lot of playtime out of it. What else did I get? Skyrim. I've got like 800 hours in Skyrim. I worked out the day I've got something like about 700 or 800 hours in Fallout 3. I've got about 500 hours in Fallout 4. I've got something like 800 to 1,000 hours in Skyrim. I mean, Skyrim alone, I played that for months. Months. Right, I'm not going to do the head yet because I want to get this thing on its legs. So we've done 30 and 31. We've got that one with this little bit of greenery there. We need to do piece number 19. No, 19. Part number 19. Where are you? I need some nippers, don't I? Part number 19. 24. 19, there we go. So yeah. And especially on PC, don't forget, if you do get into your open worldy type things, just because they can give you hundreds of hours of gameplay. If you want proper hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay, I can't recommend Fallout 3 and Skyrim enough. Purely because there's lots to do, but also the mods. There's so much modding gone on for those games that you can really just expand it. I mean, Fallout 3 with a load of mods, it still holds up. I mean, graphically, yeah, it's a bit cack, but gameplay-wise, do I need to zoom in? I'll zoom out again a bit. There's plenty of games like that where you can get a lot of bang for your buck, basically. I can't recommend the Skyrims and the Fallouts enough. Fallout 4 isn't as good as Fallout 3, but it's still good. And trust me, if you get the Garand M1, the Mosin Nagant, and the some other weapon mods. I got the mod for the Garand M1, and it just makes the game completely different rather than using the built-in games. But Fallout 3, I mean, I'm on Xbox, so I can't use mods, but Fallout 3, just vanilla. Oh, it's great fun. Paul D. Tomas says in, hello everybody, how are things today? We're all hopefully very good, thank you, Paul. How's the candy factory? Let's have a look. Andy McLeese says, well, I'm off home, day over. Thanks for coming in, Andy. Maybe see you in a bit when you get home if we're still here. Wave and BMC chisels are also 10 times the price, says Paul. Yes. Vincent's in. Vincent from Mr. Lewis Model Making. Yep, scribe them is all I can think of, says Earl to Gino about the scribing tools. You're looking at using something like Putty, Spruga, or Epoxy Sculpting to... Let me start that again. Gino, Speedy Curator says to Gino, you're looking at using something like Putty, Spruga, or Epoxy oh, god damn it! Epoxy Sculpting to restore sanded details off. Yeah, if you've sanded like a detail completely away, you're gonna have to scratch build it back in. But if you're just restoring like a groove or a recess or a panel line, that's where your scribing tools come in. Also plastic cards, says Phil East. It does depend on the details. Like if I sanded off the little lightning bolts on here, I'd be screwed. I don't know how I'd reproduce that without being a master sculptor. Yeah, I don't know how you'd cobble that together. But, for things like simple details and paneling details and stuff, plastic card, just scribing sometimes can restore them, and plastic card and things. That's it, I'm going with the burger for the belly, says Nim. Good choice, good girl. Blade on that Tamiya cutter is not flat since it's actually for cutting plastic styrene sheets. Let's have a look. You could well be right. It's... What shape is it? No, you are right. Okay, I stand corrected. It is. I'll tell you what shape it is. Where's my pen of happiness? It is. I've got nothing to draw on now. It's kind of that shape. End on. A bit of a camber there. So yes, it's not like a knife blade that would be like the V shape. It's kind of that shape. But it does give you a bit more of a control cut than just your modelling knife with its wibbly wobbly flexible blade. I think is fair to say. I hope the lid suddenly falls in half, says Paul. Welcome, Paul. Oh, he says, he's trying to recover a Custodes. Oh, it jumped. Custodes torso. Does depend on the detail, though. Why is Mario from Glove and Boots looking for Sarah Connor? Shut up. This is the worst. Simon Reynolds says the Terminator voice reminds me of the new Terminator trailer. I've really lost interest in that franchise. The new one looks cack. I saw that new Terminator trailer, Terminator whatever the hell. And you know what? It just looks like absolute drivel. It just looks... I mean, you can't really tell from a trailer, but I looked at the first shots where you see, like, young male actress, young female actress, other young female actress, and I'm like, is this like a youth... what's it called? YT, like, YA youth... What's it called when you get, like, a... I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's like, oh, it's all kids then. Okay, it's no interest at all. It did not look in any way interesting. And I got to tell you, there was that new Terminator trailer. There's one shot where I assume it's the bad guy Terminator. You see his face, and it kind of goes, and then goes into a normal face. The Terminator bit goes away, and it looked terrible. It was like, wow, that looks really bad. That's like a 1990s CGI effect. That looked absolute gash. It was terrible. It looked like the actor's face was there, and the effect went on his face, and it's like there was no suggestion at all that effect was anywhere on that person's face. It was just like overlaid. It's like me animating like the effect and then just going, there's on the face now. It was horrible. It was absolute pap, and I'm like, wow, I could do better than that. And I haven't even got any CGI software, but I could still do better than that. It was terrible. So yeah, no interest in that film at all. Sorry, James Cameron. But no interest in... I don't even know if he's involved. But I'm sorry, but, you know, original Terminator, fantastic film. Terminator 2, fantastic film. Every Terminator film since, absolute garbage. If ever there was a time that a suggestion that you need to realise that the franchise needs to just be allowed to die quietly in a corner, yeah, is when every single film made after the good one is garbage. We've got a skull. Really, just absolute garbage. So, yeah, no interest in that. Okay, that's that bit. I need to glue this to Anne Foot. Later, all off to bed. Got an early start tomorrow, says Kate. Thank you for coming, Kate. I do apologise. I always miss people when they leave, and therefore I say goodbye to them about an hour after they're gone. Philly says Fallout games are my favourite. Those and various sport games. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Simon Reynolds says, no, I have much better use of my time. Starters, Tina Nepp says, start a petition to have it remade. There are some morons out there doing a petition to say, we want the entire last season of Game of Thrones remade. It's like, really? You're really that stupid? The most expensive series of television ever produced, and you want them to remake it because you didn't like it. They're not actually, it's like, oh, it's such a self-entitled generation around nowadays. It's like, just because you didn't like it doesn't mean that other people didn't like it either. And at the end of the day, yeah, they're not going to spend all that money. I think they've made enough money. I think they'll be happy with the money they've made already. Right, so this needs to go on. Where does this go now? It's a back foot. Oh, it goes on back. Oh, right, okay. It's a rear foot type scenario. It's only because I glued it on I confused myself. It is this foot, and this foot needs to go like a bat out of hell. I don't know. Like, I said little nubules. There we go, little nubules. Nubules. There we go. No, we don't. There's the little nubs. There's little nubs on the feet for them to go into the little hop. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Time to use the Tamiya fat glue. Just a little bit to give it some sticky grip. Can't see with my visor on. Then we'll put that on there like that. Roger, sticking now. That goes on there like that, you see? Yes, does it? And now it can stick, so I can go in with the thin cement. I'll move this out of the way. Yeah, the people that are actually petitioning for them to remake Series 8 is like, do you not know how like anything in the world actually works? Oh my god, I didn't like the way these professional people made this TV series. So therefore I want them to remake it. No. No, it's just not going to happen. Just because you didn't like it. I do hate this kind of self-entitled mentality that seems to be prevalent nowadays. There's like, oh my god, they made this TV series, they're making it for me, therefore I have the right to demand this, that and the other. It's like, no. Not really. As a consumer of content, you don't really have the right to demand anything of the content creator. You can ask. By all means. You know, but none of us have the right to demand anything of a content creator. Of any kind of content, you know, just TV programs. It's like, what if you had a band you didn't like the last album? Would you, you know, people demand they redo a new album? It's like, no. Just didn't like it, deal with it. Well, that's that on there. Ooh, glue smell, so yes. But yeah, I can't be doing this self-entitled mentality that seems to have appeared in the last sort of 10 years. I demand you just shut up. Those kind of people are like the whiny children. I demand this. You demand nothing. You get what you're given and you shut up. Now we have some sculpting, some landscapey bits to build. So we need 10. 25, 24. 25 and 24. Oh, there's a tree. 25, 24, 26 and 109. Because of course. 25, 24. Well, I need 26. Ow. That is 26. Yes, a whiny, self-entitled man-children. Oh, God. They just strike me as the kind of people that have a tantrum when they were kids. They'd have a tantrum because they didn't get what they wanted, and therefore they always got what they wanted because the parents couldn't be bothered dealing with the tantrum. And now they've taken that into adult life, and it's like you just get slapped. It's like, you know, do you do that? Do you make demands of your boss when you don't like the work you're being asked to do? Because then what they do is they just fire your ass. Whiny, demanding millennials. Ugh, I don't know. Goddamn middle-class suburban nonsense. 25 I need as well before I throw this away. Ooh, do we get to do some destruction on this sprue? That'd be cool. We're not zoomed in now. 25. Right, have we got anything on this sprue? Oh, now I get to do destruction. Yes, destruction. Oh, there's nothing more satisfying than destruction. Destroy it all. Destroy everything. This is what these Citadel nippers are good for. Cutting things apart. Hardcore bits of sprue and everything. There's nothing on that bit of sprue. Nothing on that. Yes. Also means I can have a quick look at chat while we're doing this. Whiny man child. Let's have a look. Adam Clarkson, he says, afternoon all. I know what date it is after the arrival of our baby on Monday. I've lost all track of time. Adam Clark, congratulations. Congratulations on your new small tiny human. What are we talking about? All is fine here at the Candy Factory Fox, says Paul Di Tommaso. Do. Hasaki Art says, exactly, you did flat chisel for a much better finish, especially for scribing new panel lines. I've had good results with the scribing tool, to be honest. I mean, yes, a chisel will give you absolutely stunning results, but I've never quite got the hang of that. What's the chat doing? Highly recommend it to anybody remotely interested in the history, but I don't know what we're talking about. Somebody's turned into a grumpy old man. I don't know who. Oh, it's Chernobyl. As obviously a drama or something about Chernobyl. What's chat doing? Funny thing about the Game of Thrones things, one of my pals liked it when the internet hated it, he then hated it. Oh, wound, bleeding. Hang on. Oh, you little... Oh, there you go. You've had Stabity. Yes, you've had Stabity on a live stream for the first time in about a year and a half. Look at that. Manly wound. Yes, there's these things. Oh, that's going to smart. Oh, I can taste the blood. It's like a thing full of coins. Right, let me go and get a plaster. I'll be back in a second, folks. Let me put you on the back soon screen. Hang on. We're back. Sorry about that. Yeah, only a little tiny cut. But yes, there has been. It's been about time. It's been a while since we've had Stabity. I know you've been all waiting patiently for many moons for me to do Stabity. And it's hard for me to read chat and destroy Sprue at the same time, I guess. So clearly I shouldn't try and do that. Yes, Earl D, your friend that liked it and then didn't like it, just give them a slap. If they're that easily influenced, they're clearly in need of a slap. There we go. Not painful, I just didn't want to get blood on the plastic. There we go. Let's have a look. Let's be honest, even R.R. Martin based said that's not how it's meant to end. Objectively speaking, episodes 5 and 6 are the last season were lazy writing. This is true for Game of Thrones, but at the end of the day, George R.R. Martin says that's not how it's supposed to end. Maybe somebody should get the finger out and actually write it how it's supposed to end then. Because they had to make it up. They didn't have anything to go off. Like a book, for example. I don't know. Yes, yay blood, yay Stabity. Vincent says, I think the clamour for rewriting it is not getting what the reviewers wanted, but more of a clamour for getting something when we got nothing aside from a Disney happy ever after ending. Don't really. I think that's thinking too much at the end of the day. Whatever you write, somebody's not going to like it. I think it's just kind of ridiculous that people clamour for anything. If that's what the writers wrote, then that's what their vision for it was, and that's what you get. I think Richard III is a terrible play, but, I wouldn't have demanded Shakespeare rewrite it. I think it's just... I think being disappointed in something is a valid thing, It's fine to say, I didn't enjoy the way it ended. I think it wasn't really true to the style of the series as a whole. I think saying George R.R. Martin's not happy that's not how it should have ended is nonsense because he hasn't ended it himself, so he can just shut up 8 years and he hasn't even finished the next book. Yeah, so he's got no right to complain about that, but because they had to write something. So saying, criticising it and saying, yeah, it wasn't the best ending, that's fine. But being whiny and demanding they redo it, which is completely impractical and would never ever happen, then that's just ridiculous nonsense. It's clearly just people who have no understanding of... It's just like, nonsense middle-class millennials who don't understand how money actually works. Oh, you should just rewrite it and refilm it. No. I have to wonder, though, now that Game of Thrones is finished, how many people have cancelled their HBO subscription? Oops. They need to get something on there quick to replace that. It's disgusting how far people go nowadays because they got butt hurt, says Paul Di Tommaso. It's exactly what I was trying to say. That's a good way to put it. It's everybody nowadays is too goddamn delicate. You take everything too damn personal, and everything seems to be directed at the person that's doing the complaining. Oh my god, it's blah blah blah. It's like they didn't write the series for you, Mr. Whining Millennial. No matter what you do, somebody's not going to like it. William Rayburn, I'm back for just a minute. Hi and bye, William. Dad is the only scouse that nicks his own wheels. Yay blood, yay stabberty blood. It's been a while, Fox. Super glue time. Medic, the clumsy. There we go. Yeah, it was only a nip. It wasn't really a stab though. It's not really stabberty. It was more just a little nip. It wasn't actually painful. I was like, oh. I wouldn't mind. Like, I've just taken a plaster off this thumb because I trimmed my nail the other day. Somehow, I tell you what, I don't know why. I'm getting towards 50 and my nails are growing like about a foot a day. I trimmed this nail the other day and it's grown back, but I trimmed a bit too much and I got a bit sticking up like that. And you know when you go a bit too far with trimming your fingernail and you get to the painful bit and it was sticking up and it was really sore. So I'm like, I'm going to put a plaster on it just so I stop banging it. So I've just stopped wearing a plaster on that thumb. God damn it. That's that bit. Earl D said, afraid society created this problem by trying to keep everyone happy. There were some comments I was reading about those. Let's move on from that. That's a bit too controversial for me to read out there, I think. No politics and no religion. I should have read that one ahead, really, shouldn't I? Blood for the Blood Guard, Kung Fu weapons training with Fox is more apt, yes. Fox gone to get a plaster Starship Trooper style medic. Scott Sutherland and the shoes on several horses. I haven't lost that one. I demand a rewrite on the Millennium Falcon part work to include episode 7 onwards, says Speedy Q8. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Even HBO couldn't afford that. Wasn't he directly involved in the series also, which makes that a bit silly about R.R. Martin, whatever his name is? Yeah, I mean, I don't care that much about him or his books, to be honest. I like the TV series. I haven't read the books, don't intend to. Speedy Vincent says he gave them general plot lines for the seasons that were based on books that weren't written, and Speedy says, there you go, then it wasn't specific enough. Yeah, I think they'll think of him saying, that's not how I would have ended it. Well, you didn't write it, and you haven't written it at all, so shut up. I don't know. Mind you, I don't mind. Give me something to rant about on the show, so I'm quite happy, thank you very much. Let's give these little nubbage. I really don't get much work done on this show at all, do I? I just talk to you guys for 3 hours. I don't know. Nope, dropping now, sir. Now these are only scenery parts. I don't even know if you can see that, but I'm going to trim this nub down a bit anyway, just to tidy it up. Yes, I don't think that counts as stabberty. It was more nippity. I don't think that's a word, but there you go. A little thing there, little nubbage on the tree or the plant of some sort. Right, so give that a bit of a filey. Philly says, I love the books, but if he really cared that much, he would have written them. Well, yeah. I mean, people are saying that, you know, if you want the TV series to be like the books, then you would have waited 8 years between season 6 and 7. Let's just be really blatantly honest here. Yeah. Moving on. I've got no interest in the books at all. It's not interest me whatsoever. And I wouldn't never even have known about them had I not just happened to have watched the first series of the GOT and liked it. No interest in the books. I don't have time to read. Oops, there's a little nub there. I spy with my little eye something beginning with goddamn nub. I need a knife. I've put the camera in such a place that I keep knocking my big tea mug with all the tools in the world. It's quite annoying now. I've planned it terribly. Paul Di Tommaso says, oh man, I forgot to bring enough cotton buds or Q-tips to finish panel line cleanup on my HG Grenadier. Grendizer, sorry. There's a Grenadier. Yeah, because you're working at... you're doing it at work, aren't you? He's doing it at work and he's forgot to bring all the bits he needs. Oh. Unlucky. Day 48 in the Big Brother house. Paul has forgotten to bring enough Q-tips to finish the work that was going to keep him sane while he was at work. Unlucky. Anybody who doesn't watch TV in the UK, and everybody who's not in the UK won't recognise that as the announcer from the UK Big Brother. Not that I watch such drivel. I do not. And I do not subscribe to watching such nonsense. But there may in the past have been significant others who lacked brain cells and did watch such mindless drivel. So my exposure was not voluntary. Let's just be honest. That's that one. I just sit here and grunt for 3 hours about stuff, don't I? Like it. Welcome to Warhammer Sundays, or Fox getting old man grumpy about something. Next week, Fox will shout at clouds. You got to admit it's fun hearing middle-aged men rant about the youth of today. But what sets me apart from old men that do grumpiness is that I'm not the kind of old man that makes a Spitfire and doesn't weather it. Yeah. I said it. I'm not that kind of grumpy old man. Have the crew done? Says Nim. Mostly just got the faces to blob on. Yes. I found that even just the very subtle washes on those little 1/100 scale figures at Nim can work wonders sometimes. But you've got to be really careful. You don't want to overdo it. You might have to like put a little shade or a wash on it and then size that nubbin. I can't get... Oh, that's not going to happen, is it? And then bring the other colours back very carefully. But it can make a... You may not be able to paint the entire face, but you can make a big difference with just a very thin wash, just to give some depth and shading. Now this is like a stone archway, so it doesn't matter if I'm a bit harsh and heavy with the old sanding there. It doesn't actually matter. Nobody actually cares. Because it's supposed to be stone. It's like design department said this. We've still going on about it now. Speedy Q8 says it's like the design department saying, make it car shaped, getting the Wagon Queen family truckster and saying, no, I wanted the Antarctic Blue Super Sports wagon with the optional rally trim. Yeah. Pretty much. What do you want for Christmas? I want a speedboat. Here's a speedboat. No, I want a sports car. What? Yeah. I would love, says Earl D, an epic TV series to build up to a massive following and on the last episode have the bad guys win. Yes. Something Hollywood will never have the balls to do is let the bad guys win. Foodbits says, whoops, who's Fox? My bad. He says, Fuchs. Oh, because he says, Fuchs. Hey there, can you recommend a brand of paint for novice airbrush user? I understand the idea of thinning and know it's very important for a nice even coat. Broadsword, says Foodbits. The best thing about airbrushing. Yes, if you're just starting out, and I've always said learning to use an airbrush is don't be put off by thinking it's really hard. It's not. Learning an airbrush, learning how to airbrush, and I shall repeat my often said statement. Where's the pen of drawing? Use my pen of graphs. Here is a graph. Let me find a bit more space. Here is a graph. There is a graph. This axis is axis, and this axis is another axis. Okay, so here is the learning curve for quantum mechanics. That line goes off into infinity. Yeah. Here is the learning curve for the airbrush. The airbrush kind of starts off really steep. How's the best way to do this? It's really steep. but doesn't last long, and then it plateaus. Basically, it doesn't take long at all to learn everything you need to know about how to airbrush. It's a steep but very quick learning curve. Don't be put off. It's 99% of learning to use an airbrush is about confidence in what you're doing. Here's the handy tip, and I'll get to the paint in a minute. Handy tips. First of all, the first thing you want to do before you even try and use an airbrush is take it apart. Take it apart as you would do if you were cleaning it out. If it's a button airbrush, I guarantee you'll have a bit of a brown trouser moment when the trigger falls out. That is normal. Everybody has the trigger falling out. Sugar, I've broken my airbrush. Take the brush apart, put it back together again. You might have to go online for guides because 99% of airbrushes don't give you a decent how to take this thing apart in the little booklet that comes with it. They don't give you any information at all. So first thing you want to do is take it apart. That will give you an understanding so that when it comes to cleaning the airbrush, you're not panicking and worrying that you're going to break it, because trust me, you're not. But as for paint, while you're learning, while it's still a steep learning curve, it won't take you long to learn how to do it. It will take a long time to gain confidence to just go at it. You'll start off being really careful. After a while, you'll be like, yeah, I want to paint this red. There you go, done. While you're learning how to do it, which doesn't take long, there's no point making your life even harder by using a complicated fiddly paint. And this is the same reason I don't recommend cheap, crappy Chinese knockoff brushes from eBay that are like $30 and probably last about a month. Although it's a quick learning curve, it is steep. And hello, stay. And you want to make sure that although it's a steep learning curve, the path is as smooth as possible. It's not going to try and trip you up with lots of other things to worry about. So make sure you get a nice airbrush, not some crappy $20 thing from eBay that probably won't work. Because if you get some little crappy knockoff thing, then anything that doesn't work quite right on the airbrush, you might think it's you that's the problem, not the airbrush, because you don't know, you haven't experienced it yet. So get yourself a good airbrush, and then in terms of paints, while you're starting out, I would strongly recommend Vallejo Air paints. Vallejo Model Air, because they are designed to go into an airbrush with minimal thinning. Now, some of them need a little bit of thinner. They're not 100% foolproof, but they're designed to be minimum think paint. You'd have to think almost and just put it in the cup, spray it. It's not quite that simple, but they're a lot easier to use than other paints that require more careful thinning. I mean, the whole thing about thinning is just literally get it to the consistency of skimmed milk. That's as complicated as that gets. Don't worry about ratios and percentages. That's all just bullshit. Just consistency of skimmed milk, done. There you go. But you may as well avoid that issue altogether for the time being and just use paints that are already pre-thinned. So Vallejo Model Air are a brilliant brand to use. If you use lacquer paints, for example, you don't really need to thin those at all because they're already thin enough. So they're even easier. But you have to have proper respirators and ventilation, and you might kill everybody in the house. So I wouldn't recommend those. Yeah, Vallejo Model Air. And just take your time. But the first thing you need to do is take the thing apart and put it back together again. Trust me on this. Team It Up says the same thing. Vallejo Modeler or Vallejo Mecha Colour. Any of the Vallejo paints, to be honest, but most of the other paints will need, to a certain degree, a certain amount of thinning. I wouldn't recommend... One thing I would not recommend a beginner ever tries to start with is Ammo by MIG paints. Do not even try to use Ammo by MIG paints unless you know 100% what you're doing with an airbrush. Because they are not like normal paints. They don't work like normal paints. And to think they do is a terrible mistake. You can't use them like normal paints, so you need to know what you're doing before you go anywhere near those. So don't use those. They're very high entrance, bar to entrance. Any water-based acrylics are probably the easiest paints to learn with as well, because they're dead easy to use. They're not stinky and toxic. Well, they're not stinky as others. So start with your, Vallejo Model Air is a good start. If you know about thinning, then the other Vallejo colours. AK Interactive's paints are quite good. Don't even bother with MIG's paints until you've been airbrushing for maybe a couple of years. Tamiya paints are very good for airbrushing. They're kind of designed for airbrushing, but they are alcohol based, not water based. So, but you do need to thin them. but they're very, very forgiving. You can get handy with those, no problem. Okay, that's that on there. I love doing stone bits because you can leave chunks and lumps and scratches and scrape marks, and it just looks like stone. So look, sorry I'm late, but hey, at least I'm not preggers, says Walter Wilmoth. So what you're saying is not rocket science. Not saying it's not quantum mechanics. Spider-Man faces off against Dr. Octopus. The final face-off, Doc grabs Spider-Man, pulls his arms and legs off, credits roll. The petition would have petitions. Yes. Cy Reynolds says, if you paint Gunpla as well, want perfect colour patches to Bandai Plastic. Let me reread that with all the correct spellings, because I think Simon got a bit overtypey there. He says, if you paint Gunpla as well and want perfect colour matches to Bandai Plastics, autocorrect, Vallejo Mecha Colour is grand, and the same kind of formula as Model A. Yeah, Vallejo Mecha Colours are designed to be kind of literally Gunpla colours. Ammo by Meg do Gunpla colours as well, but I really don't recommend their paints at all for beginners, ever. What about thicking paint, says Speedy Q8. Shut up. Richard Gibbs, have you used the Citadel Air range? Hey Richard, no I haven't, because I'll be perfectly honest, I refuse to try and get paint from one of these into an airbrush. No. If they make them into dropper bottles, I will use their air paints. Rather than stupid Citadel bottles, I will not go anywhere near them. Because I'm just... no. And I could use a dropper, yes I could use a dropper, but I don't want to buy lots of droppers and waste them trying to get paint from there. I know. Citadel Air are terrible value for money, says Cy Reynolds, who's a Golden Demon winner, so knows these things. You get less paint pigment per penny. Have you got autocorrect on, Cy? Just use normal Citadels and learn to thin them. Yes, you can just use regular Citadels. I have airbrushed. I'll tell you the thing. If I do need to airbrush Citadel paints, then what I do is I decant them into dropper bottles. And I have to say, they are actually, if you thin them to the right level, they are really, really nice paints to airbrush. But you've got to get the thinning mixture exactly right. You've got to get them just exactly right, but they do go on really nicely. But it's an expensive way, because if I want to make a bit of a blue airbrush, I have to use the whole bottle into a dropper bottle. I can't just put a little bit, because then you get it just... If you put thinner in your paint cup on your airbrush and then blob some of that in, it'll go down to the bottom and just block the airbrush. So I have to pre-mix them elsewhere, and it can get expensive. Vincent says, no, but I've sprayed Citadel as it's dead easy to make your own. Citadel's branded air thinners are basically just X20A with less of a smell. Yeah, when I have thin Citadel paints, I've just used bog standard Tamiya X20A or just isopropyl alcohol. And they are water-based paints, but you can thin them with alcohol. I really don't know what I'm gluing to what here. Is this 26? I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. This is 26 that needs to go... That's not even a word, Fox. It needs to go the. But where does it need to... What? Okay. How does this... Where does this... Who am I... What? Who am I? Where am I? I'm shouting at clouds again. What? How does this even... Right, I'm confused now. How does this even go together? That's there. I've got a bit that goes there. And I haven't cut off the sprue. God damn it! And this is supposed to go... Huh? Don't understand. That needs to... That's like that. That goes there. Oh, there we go. Wow, that was confusing. Wow, that was really confusing. I'm like, what? Wow. Totally confusing there. I was like, well, that doesn't fit. How does that even fit to what? Sometimes you do wish they got a bit more handy with like locating pegs. Just sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying everything should be catered for here, but sometimes the way these things go together is a little bit vague. And just having a single locating pin and hole, let's do it on camera, having a single pin and hole might be a good idea every now and then, just on some parts. I don't know. But then again, having said that, the way it does go together, when you eventually figure that nonsense out, it is beautifully, nicely done that you can't see any seam lines. Yay! No need to fill anything. Right, so that's on there. I asked Simon if he was like got autocorrect. He says no, just type in like a tard, but it's less pigment for penny, paint for penny, or whatever because they are pre-thinned. Of course, yes, I knew what I meant. Richard Gibbs said I grabbed a few because I've been impatient to wait for paints to be delivered. They seem to stodge up after 5 or 10 minutes, and an airbrush wondered if it was me or the paint. I have seen some people do reviews of them, and I can't remember who it was. I saw somebody do a review, and they said they were all right, but you still need to thin them a little bit for a typical airbrush. If you don't thin them, you can get them through an airbrush if you up the pressure, but whoever it was, I can't remember who did it, but it was basically saying you still need, he found he still had to thin them a little bit, which kind of then negates the whole point of them being pre-thinned for an airbrush, really. Right, I need 109, which is a piece of rockery. Could it be on this one? Yes, there we go. Yeah, but so best airbrushes to learn with, Vallejo Air. There are other paints out there that are technically pre-thinned for airbrush, but I'm blanking on which ones they are. So, yes. And the difficulty for me, and I have to be honest here, the difficulty for me espousing the virtues of any specific brand of paint is that I have a lot of Tamiya paints, I have a lot of Citadel paints, I have a small collection of Vallejo, it's a mixture of Game, Colour, Air and some others, and I have a really small collection of ammo, well, not a small collection of ammo by Meg. The problem is, if I was to be an expert on every brand of paint, I'd have to have a large collection of every brand of paint, and I can't afford that. But also, I haven't got the space to store it, and let's be perfectly honest, I've got my Tamiya paints that I was perfectly happy with for many, many years because I wasn't brush painting. And it was a case of, well, I could use other paints, but I've got such a large collection of Tamiya paints, it seems stupid to buy all these other paints when I've got 15 years worth of Tamiya paints that I need to use. It's money I can spend on something else. And then, of course, I got some Vallejo paints because I was doing builds, say, for E-models, and I wanted to use a specific brand, so I got those from E-models for that reason. All the ammo paints I was doing a build for Mig Jimenez. I was doing my Perfect Grade Zaku, which was a build for Mig Jimenez. So, you know, he said, do you want to do a collaboration? So that's why I used his product. Which they're really nice paints. They are really, really nice paints, but they're not for the beginner at all. And the Citadel paints I've got because I wanted to learn how to brush paint, and you can't brush paint with Tamiya. Or you can, but I wouldn't recommend even trying. So that's how I built up my Citadel collection. But there's no major reason for me right now to buy lots and lots of, say, more Vallejo paints or any other paint, because I don't need to. I could go and spend £100 on like a big collection of Vallejo paints, but I've got all those colours in Citadel, and I've got nowhere to put a big collection of Vallejo paints, for example. So I'm always cautious of people that seem to know everything about all the different brands of paints, because it's like, unless they're made of money, how are they going to have enough of those paints to really experience them? I can talk with confidence on Tamiya paints because I've been using them for over 30 years. I can talk with confidence on Citadel paints because I've been using them intensively for the last 2 years, massively for the last 2 years. I can talk with a little bit of experience on Vallejo paints, but not much because I've only used them a bit here and there. I can talk with some great experience, but not massive, but some experience on the ammo paints because I've used them a little bit, but not massively. I mean, only on that one big project. So, you know, so when people say, you know, that they seem to say they know everything about all the different brands of paints, how do they afford all these different brands of paints? That's the thing. Yeah. Right, so we've got that built. We can now, I think, what we'll do, we'll get these leggings glued on. So this needs to be, what do we have here? What do we have here? Paul at Team Inept says he's got the full set of mecha colours and a special deal on there. Superb! I used the mecha colours for the Strike Gundam. I did the Strike Rouge, but it was the Strike Mauve, and I used those for Jordan's Patreon build. And yeah, they were really nice. Really nice, bright purple colour. Now, I've not sanded down this yet. I did put a little glue on there earlier on. Do I need to sand it down? I think it'll be fine. We'll get that covered in prime. I do remember I put a little bit of glue on the seam line here just to bed down any bits. I think that's sorted itself out now. So that can go on there, like that, you see? Woo, puppy dog legs. So we can do that now. Get some thick glue. Now, I've said this before. I don't tend to use the thick glue unless it's something structural or load-bearing. Because I know if I use thin cement on here and I put the leg on, the leg will just instantly fall off. Because thick cement has no stick. It welds the plastic. It takes a little while and then it welds the plastic. It melts the plastic. The thick cement doesn't do that as much, but it does do a bit of stick. So I know now if I squish that together, that'll stay in place. And I can then go in with the thin, which I'll put there. Go in with the thin. And get this down all the little gaps and seams. Run it into the gaps. And that will then weld the plastic together. So the thick gives me a bit of stick straight off. So the leg doesn't just fall straight off. And then I can go in with the thin, which can do all the heavy lifting of the welding to the plastic together. Now, I'm not too worried about this seam line here. I don't actually care about it because there is, I think, a piece of armour that goes on top of that. Just need to make sure I've got generous amounts of the thin going into the cracks. Give it a squish. The glue, the plastic with the melted plastic will ooze out a little bit and we'll just fill that little gap ever so slightly, which is fine. But I'm pretty sure there is a pauldron that goes over the top of that anyway, which will cover that gap quite nicely. Philly says, I love Tamiya for airbrushing. Yeah, Tamiya paints are great for airbrushing. One of the reasons I would strongly recommend Tamiya paints over any other paint is there's a certain advantage to Tamiya paints for airbrushing. They're absolutely gash to brush with. Don't even try brushing Tamiya paints. You have to get everything just exactly so right with Tamiya paints. It's not worth even trying. I wouldn't recommend it. Don't even try. Don't even go there. Is there any armour that goes over that shoulder, or is it not going to have a pauldron on it? Oh yes, that's a nice big pauldron. There we go. Yes. So yeah, don't even try and brush with Tamiya paints. It's a fool's errand. But airbrushing, first and foremost, they're not lacquer paints, but because they say they're acrylics. On the packaging it says acrylic. They're not actually truly acrylic paints. They are more akin to lacquer paints because they're alcohol based. There's no way for me to put fat cement on here. They're alcohol based. So you can't you can thin them with water, but you'll just get sadness. Trust me, it's not worth it. You thin them with alcohol. Because of that, they are a lot more durable when sprayed than traditional water-based acrylics. The downside with any water-based acrylic like Vallejo, Citadel, P3, Formula whatever, all those Army Painter, all the water-based acrylics, they're beautiful to work with, they're great to brush, but they're not durable at all. If you make a Gumpler with lots of moving bits and bobs and you paint it with water-based acrylics, you have to be careful because it's easy for all that paint to come off. If I'm making even a Warhammer and I've painted it with acrylics like Citadel paints, I have to be careful in the handling to make sure I'm not taking off all the paint on any corners that are getting rubbed and worn. They're not that durable. They're easily removed. Whereas Tamiya paints are alcohol based. They're closer to lacquers than they are to water based acrylics. So they're a bit more durable. So they do make wonderful durable paints. If you're not able to spray lacquers, because lacquers are, you can't do it in a crowded house. They stink and they're toxic. So they're a nice halfway house between lacquers and acrylics. They're more durable. And there was another point I've forgotten. I think that was it basically. They're just a lot more durable. So if you've got things that, for example, if I'm building a model and I know I'm going to have to do some masking, like let's say I'm building a model with the stripe down the front, where I can, let's say I'm building I don't know, let's say that's like a model and I want a stripe going down the middle. If I paint that with water-based acrylics, it'll probably be fine, but I'd have to de-tack the tape a lot. And there's always the possibility that some of that paint might come up on the tape if I don't do it exactly right. If you paint with Tamiya's, you're pretty much safe to put the tape on, just straight from the roll, the Tamiya masking tape, straight down, paint it, pull the tape off, you'll be fine. They're quite durable, so that is one advantage to them. I'm going to let that dry for a minute. What I should have done is glued his foot to the... Oh, I didn't do that bit, did I? Didn't do this bit. Oh, fudge-tastic. Can I get that off again? Yeah, there we go. Oh, hair. I've got glue hair. Hang on. Get off. Bit of glue hair there. That'll go away. Got a glue strand, but I can just rub that off. Another advantage of the Tamiya Extra Thin, it doesn't dry instantly, so you can still discombobulate. I just didn't want to do that. I thought I'd do this way because I don't know how much cajiggling I'm going to need to do. That needs to go like... It's another one of these, isn't it? Oh. Okay, that goes like... Ah, perfect. Perfetto. Put this on. I'll put this on here first. I didn't want to be jamming this onto the leg and then destabilising lots of other things. So I'll get this on here first. Do. Get some glue in the gap. Ooh, where's the camera? There's the camera. See, I've covered up my camera mark now, so I don't know where my point is. Get this on here. do. Put it on properly will be a good idea. Always a winner. Oops. Drop it, of course, which is part of the process. You have to drop these things properly. It's part of the professional building process. That's not the best of fits, I have to be honest. It's a bit of a ropey fit, but it'll be fine. Because the steps are all cracked. It just looks like cracked stone steps, which is kind of cool. Just down there. Okay, so that's on there. We'll just run a bit more down that bit. Now what I can do now is go back and put this on here. Let's try that again, shall we? Little bit of glue there and there. Again, this is going to be covered by a pauldron, so it doesn't have to be the neatest thing in the world. That can go back on here like this, you see. We'll run some more extra thin down the gap. Like this. There we go. The beauty of the extra thin as well is that if you do want to brush it around and be handy with it, when it dries, like I said before, it doesn't make big blobs of glue. It can make little patchy bits that you have to go and correct and tidy up, but not like, say, a proper polystyrene cement, which will leave big beads of glue everywhere. One glue that's actually a lot even thinner and will hide even better is the Plastic Magic stuff. That's super thin. It's even thinner than this. Right, I'll have a look at chat in a second. I'm just going to hold this for a moment. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to make sure on the base of bases that everything is lined up and flat. I don't want like when you do a vehicle and you get one wheel that's up off the ground. I need to make sure that all the legs fit and everything goes in. Yeah, that's fine. Excellent, excellent. Excellent. Starting to come together. Look at that. I'll put it up on the... Hold it up for you. It's starting to come together quite nicely. So I'm going to put that to one side. Just to sit and cure for a few moments on the base. Base! How low can you go? So have a quick look at chat. Then we need some sticker giveaways. It's 5 o'clock. Nim says, I shall return. My burger is here. Yes, enjoy your burger, Nim. Right, where are we up to? Simon Reynolds says something they are, but I've decanted all my paints to dropper bottles. It's a ball ache, but I had a mega paint set gifted, so I decanted. No, I've done that one. It's gone back a bit there. Army painter are okay. They're far too thick for airbrushing and need a hell of a lot of thinning. However, the pigments in them can take thinning. They seem to be highly pigmented, says Sai. Vincent at Mr. Loth has switched to AK Real Colours with a bunch of Tamiya and a Mr. Hobby Accurus too, as the struggle with dry tip has almost disappeared since using those. Jolly good. Team Inept says, I think you've also switched to Real Colour because you're a nerd. Well, it's because Vincent likes making his military stuff, and therefore, of course, he's a nerd. He's got to use all the realistic ones. Philly says, anybody here use the gel-based miniature paints? I can't remember the brand name, but watched a video review that looked amazing. And Cyril says, I think you're referring to Scale 75. Are they the ones that are super, super matte? I think they are. I think something just ran across my spray booth, but I don't know what. At the corner of my eye, I saw something go across my spray booth. I think there may be an enormous spider in there. Ooh, excellent. We'll wait and see. If an enormous spider does emerge, I will, of course, run away like screaming like a frightened schoolgirl, so expect that. Siren says, I paint all of my non-metallic metals and skin with them. They're absolutely superb, but not a beginner paint. They glaze and blend amazingly. Best on the market. Vincent asks if anyone's tried the Mr. Hobby Accretion line. Seems very interesting for anime figures due to the colour range, and they are meant to be an easy brush version of Mr. Accurus, which really intrigues me. Don't know, never heard of those. Sai says, yes, they are extremely matte. Yes, I thought so. The Scale 75 ones are the super, super matte paints. I think I looked on the chat. Still talking about paints and things. Nim says, burger. You need to explain what's on the burger, Nim. You can't just say burger. You've got to say, what kind of burger? What's on it? What toppings has it got? Has it got gherkin? Which it should, of course, have gherkin. I made so many mistakes on the first build, but I like that it doesn't look like a toy anymore, says Guns Down. That's the thing. The best way to be in this hobby is basically watching this stream and getting stickers. It's the best way to be. The best way to be in this hobby. And I fall victim to it myself. You get involved in a kit, and then when something goes wrong, you think, oh, that's it, I give up. I'm just going to have to bin it, and then I'm going to give up the hobby forever. No, but if you think about it logically, you sit back and think, hang on, it's a plastic kit that cost me, maybe whatever it cost. It's a piece of plastic. If it goes wrong, and I can't strip it, I just get a different kit. There'll be more kits, and I'll have no problems. So it's not like, if you get it wrong, your house burns down, or somebody dies, or a pet dies. It's not. There's no consequences. If it goes wrong, then yeah, okay, you've got a model that's not quite as you wanted it, but you've learned from the experience. You go off and you apply that learnings to the next model, because there'll always be a next model. Because by now you've got a shelf full of kits that you might never get around to building. Right, sticker times. Sticker times. Yes. That's Guthorm dancing. There you go. Sticker times. Guthorm gets to come out a little bit. Right, sticker times. I've got 3 stickers here. 3 model making Gru stickers. As always, by this point in the chat, in the show, I'm going to be giving stickers away to the people that get the answers right in chat. So what I need you to do first of all is, because there's a delay between the video and the chat, hit the refresh button on your browser and drag the slider across to the right hand side. Refresh and drag so that you're up to date with the chat. Now, when I ask the questions, I will be going for the first person to get the answer right in chat. Do not assume for one moment that because your answer is the first in the chat on your screen, that you are the first in the actual chat, because that's nonsense. You're seeing your answer tailored to you. You'll always be first on your screen. I go off the chat that YouTube receives, the order that YouTube receives the comments in. So when you press send, it's got to get to YouTube. So just because you're the first on your chat doesn't mean you're first in the actual chat. So there you go. If you watch back the stream later on, you'll see who was actually first. I need to go and see if I've had any emails or questions from anybody. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make up some questions. Beck Storm says, influx of new viewers after your Broadway debut on Zaku's stream the other day, Fox. Yesterday. I don't know, actually. I noticed that you were on there, and I didn't realise you were. I was like, I reckon. I did actually. It was quite nice that I recognised, apart from my obvious followers, some people that I think were just there watching the stream that I never recognised the names, and they were like, oh, there's Fox. What's he doing here? I think you were one of them. You're like, wait, why is Fox on here? It was quite amusing. Wait a minute, that's Fox. What? I think I've probably had some new subscribers. Don't know if I got any new viewers, but it'd be nice if I got some subscribers off the back of it. That'd be quite pleasant. But I was surprised by how many familiar names are on there. Like people that aren't necessarily followers that I see in my normal chats. Vincent says, I missed that. Sadly, how did the mighty guru do? It's still there. Go and watch it. It was very strange. I was very nervous and I probably blabbered more than normal. So, of course, I came away with massive imposter syndrome. I'm a humble kind of guy, so I came away with massive imposter syndrome thinking I've probably done terribly. But apparently I did all right. Some very nice comments in the chat and in the comments for it. And they are a real good bunch of guys. They're a really nice bunch of guys. I do want to thank them again as well. You know, Tim and Josh and Zach and Simon. It was brilliant. Thank you very, very much for extending the honour for me joining their live stream. It was very, very awesome. Right. What are we doing? I've got to see if I've got any email. I've got emails. Has anybody mailed me with questions? You monsters. Or have you all just not slacked? That's Ted's email box. That's no use for me. Hello. Let's have a look. Oh, we have some questions. Oh, yes. Okay, we have at least 2 questions. One which nobody will get, but I'll ask it anyway. Isaac, I have to say, your address is different every time you mail me, but I think I've figured it out. Don't worry. It doesn't amuse me that your address is always different in every email. Okay, we have a couple of questions from Isaac. One I don't think anybody will get, and one I think you will get. And then I've got to make a question up. So you know what my made-up question is going to be. You know that easily. Right, so. As always, I'm going to ask 3 questions for 3 stickers. I need to write a word. I need to write a magic word on each one. So I think on this one, I'm going to write pufflings. For those that don't know, a baby puffin is called a pufflings. A puffling, even. On this one, I'm going to write pufflings. And on this one, I'm going to write pufflings. So, there we go. Pufflings, pufflings, and pufflings, because it's a brilliant word. It's a brilliant word. Right, so, I'm going to ask the question. First person in chat to get it right. You've all refreshed and dragged the slider by now. First person to get it right is kick-ass and wins a sticker of their choice. Now, before we go anywhere, don't forget, of course, I do have this enormous pile of stickers. I've said it many times. I suck at sending the stickers out. I don't ignore them. I build them up for ages and ages and ages. And then when I eventually get a chance to go to the post office, I spend a fortune on envelopes and stamps. So, yes, I do have a massive pile of them that I need to send out. If you've been waiting for months and months, you're in there. Don't worry. You will get them eventually. It's just I'm kind of crap at remembering. And Dad, if you're watching, I still have stickers for Kenneth to send to you that I've not got round to. I just suck. So don't expect them to appear anytime, before, I don't know, before Halo Infinite comes out. But yes, right, so we've got a couple of questions from Isaac. So first of all, is everybody ready? I'm going to have a swig of tea. And the first one is, I'm having a swig of tea. The first one is, well, the first one, Isaac says, I don't actually know what the answer is, but I know what the answer is. So the first one he's not sure what the answer is, but it's the question that works. So, yes, the first question is... I'm waiting for the chat to catch up. You blabbed more than normal, says Vincent. I will watch it later. Pretty sure it was the standard level of blabber. That's Ted at models, says that's the, yeah. Does that make them porglings? Apparently, you probably all know this, but when they filmed whatever that latest Star Wars film was, where they're on the island with Luke and stuff, the reason those porgs are in there, the entire reason is because the island's covered in puffins, and they had to cover up the puffins with something, so they covered them up with the porgs or whatever they are. So every time you see a porg whizzing around on screen, it's probably a puffin that was in the background. When hell freezes over, you will get your sticker, says Paul Di Tommaso. That's pretty much how it works. Right, so, first question. What's his name? Go. Don't know if anybody will get this. Scott, you can't answer this because you know what his name is. You're not allowed, unfortunately. What is his name? He has a name. I've mentioned it a few times today, but you might not get it. No, just so you know, it's not Odo, because Odo's the big one. Odo's this one. That's Odo. It's not Odo. What's his name? I don't care if you get the spelling wrong. Pingu, says Beck. That's a good name, that. It is, of course, because it was a gift from Scott, it is, of course, a Viking / sort of name. I totally forget, so I'm going with Bob, says Simon Reynolds. Jar Jar, no, banned. Breakfast, says Beyond Hope. Puffles the Adorable, says Zadster. I don't expect you to know the surname, which I've just forgotten. There we go. I'll give you a clue. The surname is Sigurdsson. It's a proper Viking name. All the puffins that Scott sends to people have proper Viking names because they're all based on proper Danes and Vikings that lived in Orkney. Okay. I will give it to Hobbs 4876 says IKEA. That's a brilliant name for a puffin. Sorry, IKEA. It should be. Apparently, IKEA is pronounced IKEA, but saying IKEA just sounds wrong. I will give the answer to Adam Clark, who says Geform. It's not Geform, it's Guthorm. Guthorm. But I said I wasn't bothered about the spelling because nobody would get it anyway. So Geform is close enough to Guthorm. Guthorm Sigurdsson is his real full name. Named after, I assume, a Jarl in Orkney, one of the Orcadian Jarls. Lutefisk, says Team Inept. That's a good word. I like that, Lutefisk. So Guthorm Sigurdsson. There you go. So yes, well done. Adam, I'll give you a sticker on that. Would you like pufflings, or pufflings? We shall sit here quietly and wait until you tell us which one you want. Which one would you like? I'm not going to do that, don't worry. I'll send you one. You don't have to choose. So Adam Clark, you've won one, so well done. Adam Clark. All you need to do, if you win a sticker, and you're happy to wait for about 6 months, is, I didn't say that, is just send me an email to fox@modelmakingguru.com. The address is always on my screen. Send me an email and just give me your name and address and tell me that you've won a sticker. If you're already waiting for a sticker, and you've got one in that pile, you still need to mail me anyway, because if I use my inbox as my you need to send these people sticker lists. If I see 5 emails from you, I know then probably there's going to be at least 5 stickers to send to you, and I can make sure they're all in that pile. There's none missing. So, yeah, make sure you mail me with your name and address and tell me you want a Model Making Guru sticker. So there we go. Lovely, lovely. Right. Baby's first sticker. Oh, says Adam Clark. There you go. I can't guarantee it will stick for very long to a baby, but hey. Right, the next question. Let me get my keyboard of happiness, because it's on my iPad. I'm hoping you can't actually see any of that. See people's email addresses. The next question. Okay, right, here we go. Nice, easy one. Well, if you're paying attention. This is for anybody now. Earlier on, in this very programme, I demonstrated how to do, or one way to do, rescribing panel lines using a scriber. And I said, obviously, when you're doing that, you don't want to use Tamiya masking tape because it's rubbish and paper will break. I also showed you, I wonder if I can find it. No, I can't find it now. I also showed you a piece of red tape that I used to make a panel line scribe. What kind of tape was it? Go. And Simon Reynolds had already answered. I think by the time before I'd even finished asking the question, which was Dymo tape. Well done, Si. You'd already answered it before I'd even finished speaking. I did kind of drag that one out a bit, didn't I? I think the exit was quite clear. So well done, Si. Yes, it was Dymo tape. So just send me an email with your name and address. You've got loads of these now. I expect you to have like a Crusader case covered in Model Making Guru stickers, because that would be awesome. Team Inept says, I showed one way to rescribe panel lines. What is the correct way? There are many ways. Oh. But I can only show you the method that I've got the tools for, so there you go. Right, one last sticker. Vincent says, do I still need to send you a mail? Pretty sure I won one right before sending to the Banhammer. I probably got an email from you, but send me another one. If you get 2, you get 2. Hey. Sojiburo Chisels at Team Inept. Obviously, only if you poop gold in the morning. Yes. I already have 2 laptops covered in stickers from you, says Cy Reynolds. Yes. I I keep sticking them on things as well, strangely enough. Right, one last question then. I've got to think of a question. Oh, by the way, while I'm thinking of a question, I finished off the you saw me doing on Chris's live stream the other day, on his Thursday live stream. I was drawing his war hamster. I finished it. That's the war hamster I finished, all with Uniposca paint pens. Chris is going to use this for his war hamster Sunday streams, but I'm going to send this to Chris when I can find an envelope with a piece of card behind it. I've got to try and put it in a stiff envelope and send it to him. But there's that war hamster. Get yourself some Uniposca paint pens. They're great fun. Thinking of a question. It's going to be a number on. You know, it's going to be a number on the hand. You know, it's going to be a number on the hand. Really, or maybe it's not. Okay, here we go. Team Net says bone. Nim Cinderin says bones. Dancing phalanges. That's because it's because Paul said dancing phalanges. Nim, well done for getting the reference. It's because we had a question on the E-model stream once, and I tried to give a clue by saying dancing phalanges, but the actual answer to the question was phalanges, so I kind of ruined it. Yeah, I didn't think. Dancing phalanges. Beck Storm says, I'm working on scribing right now. Got something relevant to watch back today. Yes. Right, anyway, so yes, last question. Here we go. This is going to be a Google. Here's a Google question. It's going to be completely random, and it's going to be about Fallout 3. There you go. So now you've got time to get your Google search. I'm going to give you a few seconds to get your Google search window open. Right. Fallout 3. There's a quest called Them or Those, one of the two, where you have to go and deal with some giant ants, fire-breathing ants. What is the name of the scientist you have to work with to fix the problem? Go. If you do the quest correctly, you get his lab coat as a prize. What is the scientist's name? Nim says he just sent me some. Oh, we'll use those one next week then, Nim. Paul, behave. Dr. Shipman, Dr. Crippen. Evil people, aren't you? Truly are evil people. And when by evil people, I mean Paul. Let me just close down my email. I don't need that open now. Thanks for those, Nim. I shall use those next week. Thank you kindly. What is the name of the scientist as part of the quest? Thy creator says Brian Wilkes, but that's the kid, not the scientist. It's the scientist who caused the problem. Thy creator then says Lesko, which is the correct answer. It's Dr. Lesko. So well done, Thy creator. You've won yourself another sticker. And I can only say that because I was playing that last night. Thy creator. They gave Dr. Lesko the voice that was so obviously meant to be a cross between the Professor from Futurama and the voice of Dr. Kleiner from Half-Life. It was kind of a... I made these ants enormous and now I can't control them. And that had a bit of the Grand Nagus in there as well. Yeah. And it's one of those. That's one of those quests. If you play Fallout 3, well done by the way, Grad Creator. If you play it, at no point, Philly says Drake Remore. I'm Dr. Remore. Yeah, if you play Fallout 3, it's one of those quests where at no point in the conversation before you take on the quest does he tell you what the reward is. But then when you finish the quest, come back to him and says, right, your speech options are, right, which of these injections do I get as a reward? And I'm like, injections, what now? What? So yes. That was a good Google Foo question, says Simon Reynolds. He only says that because he didn't win. Because it beats because normally Cy Reynolds is the fastest Google Fooer. So yeah, well done. That was Thy creator. What else do we have? Dr. Oz, Dr. Doom. It's over chat. I have the high ground. Doctor Who. Lesko. It's his lab coat, says Simon, but not too fast. Not fast enough. Okay, that's way past my bedtime. Good night, folks. See you in the next one. Stickies overload, says Thy creator. Well, thank you for coming in, Thy creator. Very kind of you. That's more stickers coming to you. I don't know. You've got all the stickers you have. Right, so there we go. So yes, brilliant. Well done. I would do more sticker giveaways like in the show and do more than 3, but as you can see, I've already got about 25-30 quid worth of stamps to buy. Although having said that, there's probably only about 6 people in here. This is probably about 6 people's worth of stickers. It's mostly like Simon Reynolds, thy creator. We've got Osric 9000. Yeah, they straight away. Osric 9000. Nim's got a load. Yeah, it's probably about 6. It might only be about 6 stamps in that lot. But it will take me about 2 hours to go through and put all them in envelopes. Every time I do these sticker giveaways, it takes longer and longer for me to get around to doing it, and I spend more and more time doing it. It's like, oh, I should do this once a month. It's all your fault, 'cause I'm going to have a box full of it. Oh, cool. That's all right. Sell them on eBay. You're more than welcome to. I don't care. I probably shouldn't say that out loud on the telly, should I? Right, so where are we up to? So we've got the feet glued onto the Space Horse. Space Horse. I don't think we're going to actually be gluing on the dude or building the dude. What we can do, they're on. It's looking big and meaty now. Now I need to check, once I've done this, can I get my grubby little paintbrush underneath to paint his seamy underbelly? Let's do a test. Paintbrush, seamy underbelly. Leather strap is a fiddly bit. Can I get that in there? Yes, no problem. Painty Rudy parts. No problem. I can get into paint the claws. That's fine. Stones. Can I get into this bit? I don't see this being a major issue, because everything I need to get to, like if I look at his claws down here, you can't see, but can I get to that claw? Yes. This is all stone coloured anyway. I can get to the side of that tree. There's no massive detail-y parts that I'm unable to reach if I glue him to the base. So I think we can go ahead and quite happily glue him to the base. Glue him to the base, and then you have a thing on a base. It's glued to the base and not free floating and not on a base. So glue him to... I'm going to stop now before somebody copyrights my ass. Beck Storm says, hand-signed Widge sticker on eBay for £300. Mark my words, it'll sell. Yes. Now, when I glue things to bases, like I said before, I like to use the big fat glue. Now, this isn't load-bearing, but I find that when I use the thin glue and put on my base, it just kind of slides around a lot. I like to use the thick glue first off, just to get him in place and get him squidged down. And then I'll go in with the thin glue. I don't know why, I just like to do it this way. I often use the thick glue where there's a big flat area to glue. Do it on camera. Big flat area to glue together. So if you've got like 2 rather large flat panels, for example, always worth doing the big fat glue. Or here, what I can do is I can place them on the base, and then I can wiggle him around backwards and forwards a little bit. That just spreads the glue a little bit. Make sure he's all kind of nice and symmetrical. There we go. Think of it like when you make a burger and you put a little squirt of tomato sauce on the burger, and then you get the bun and you do that just to spread. That's what I do with the thick glue. I'll just make sure he's reasonably in the middle. He's kind of off to one side, which is a bit weird. So we'll turn him around a bit. I often feel that if you're putting something on a base, try not to be boring. And then what I mean by that is if you've got a base that has a particular orientation, like that is that way or that way, it's not like a circle, then don't just plonk the thing in the middle and have it facing forward. Sometimes you'll see me, I'll put a guy on a round base, but I'll put him towards the back or to one side, just to make things a bit interesting. Don't go for the obvious layup of putting him right in the middle. I shall put some extra thin into all the gaps. I know you can't see this because it's looking down from above, the dove from above, but I'm going to be really generous with this. I'm going to go really handy with the brush and get all the extra thin around all the gaps around the bottom of the feet. Also, wasn't even on camera because of a spoon. So make sure we really work this glue into the gaps. I want to use quite a lot. I'm not being shy because we're going to put obviously some sort of texture base on here anyway, so it doesn't really matter if I get lots of glue on the base area itself. But I need to make sure I'm just getting glue where it needs to go. I'm having trouble with this brush here at the moment. Pull it out a bit more. So we're going to hold him up there. The thick glue also means that I can do things like lift him up like this, and he's not going to just slide off the base, which would also be a bit sucky because I need to be able to run the glue underneath. And be able to lift him up. I don't want to be having to worry about the base just coming off the model, or the model coming off the base even. I want to just really generously go in with the glue here. And again, just in case you don't know, the extra thin is designed as a welding cement. It melts the plastic together. It fuses it together, literally, by melting plastic into each other, polystyrene into polystyrene. The thick cement isn't really designed for that. It does it a little bit, but not as intensively. So the extra thin cement will always give you a much stronger bond between plastic than the fat cement. So we'll give him a squish. And it's a bit boring to see it from that angle. Shall I see if I can change the angle for you? Let's change the angle. Should we change the angle? Oh, I've got a new camera grabby thing, which means I can do this now. I'll do that there. I'll have to justificate the focusings. Hang on. Moving, focusing, brushes, there we go. Look at that. How's that for an angle, folks? Look at that. Look at the angle on that. I'll have to adjust the focus for you. Hang on. I shall adjust the focusings. I think that's in focus. Let me know if it's not. Are we in focus? We are in focus. There we go. Nim says, model making guru, did you come up with that analogy because of my lunch? Yes, I'm kind of thinking about cheeseburgers now. Git. And it's totally your fault. Then again, mind you, I've got to be honest, when am I not thinking about cheeseburgers? This is a true fact, to be honest. To be sure, it is a true thing. There's not really much time when I'm not thinking about cheeseburgers. Let's be blatantly, brutally honest here. Yeah, you're kind of right. I went to visit my friend in hospital on the Friday. So we just had McDonald's while we were there. So that was my dinner, was McDonald's. Last night, I said to Mama Fox, what do you want for dinner? She went, McDonald's. I went, okay, that'll be McDonald's again then. So that was 2 nights of double bacon cheeseburgers. Yes, can't go wrong. Actually, I was very bad. They messed up my order, and I wanted a double bacon double cheeseburger. So bacon double cheeseburger, large fries, and they have at the moment this seasonal thing where it's like each month they have a different sort of state of America. Like one was, I think this one's Tennessee. It's like a Tennessee stack or something. So I ordered one of them, and they gave me 2 bacon double cheeseburgers and a Tennessee stack and a large fries. So I was like, oh dear, I'll have to eat them all now, and I did. And it was most delightful. And it was a bit fat afterwards. Zazda says, lol, Fox wonders why he's putting on weight. To be honest, McDonald's, if I ate it all the time, then yes, I'd be really unhealthy. But if you just have it every now, because I only have it every now and then, like, you know, once or twice a month. If I have it, I get the fatness until I wake up in the morning when it's gone. Because McDonald's is one of those foods that you eat it, and within an hour it's gone and you're hungry again. So if I occasionally eat it, I don't get the fatness. If I ate it every day, I'd just be massive and bloated. But as an occasional thing, it's not so bad. Is that looking a bit dark for you guys? Is the lighting a bit dark here, or is it all looking okay for you? Can't quite tell if it's a bit dark or not. Should we brighten things up? Let me see if I can brighten things up for you. Hang on. The amazingness of just control. Nah, it looks terrible. There we go. That'll do. I'm fussing. Ignore me. Right, so what's chat doing? Unfortunately, I can't get to my tea now because it's right there where the camera. Oh, I didn't think that through. All gone wrong. Oh, hang on, let me put that there. Oh, that's nice. Good cup of tea, that. Thanks, me. Right. I think it deserves to be on a nicer base than the standard Games Workshop issue oval thing. Yeah, it does, but that's where the beauty of just using that as a surface comes in. Yes, as a basic base, it's a bit rubbish. If I was building a diorama, I obviously wouldn't use the base. But I do want to sell this, and I have to assume that whoever buys it may want to play it on the tabletop, so it has to be a certain size base, because of the way, that's the thing, you don't have to use the Games Workshop bases, but if you use your own custom bases, they have to be the same size because of gameplay issues and measurement issues. But you can still do a lot to them. You can build them. I could put textures on here. I could put little bits of scenery on here. I could do quite a lot. I may get some, little rocks or things, or little scale bushes or something, and add those. It's not just going to be a flat base. There's all bits of stone wreckage here, so I could have the little bits of ruins and things to make a little diorama. So it's still a good base for make a diorama out of. But yeah, there's certain, if I remember rightly, you have to be certain sizes, and that's why you can't just blep a model on a massive base, because it affects measurings and things. Someone needs to send him a nice 3D printed base, says Vincent. Yeah, unfortunately, I've just glued him on now. I've glued him on now! Something like an uneven stone flag floor, says Zadster. That would actually look quite good, but I've glued him on now. Yeah, a bit slow with the comments. Yes, I have seen that done, though. I've seen all kinds of models glued on bases and stuff, and they can look fantastic. I think as long as it's the basic size is the same. You can go up as much as you want. Let's have a look. My resin printer fund currently stands at £2.75p, says Zadster. Paul Di Tommaso says if I had the money, I would buy a 3D printer. A nice thick burger with cheese, bacon, and lots of pickles, says Paul Di Tommaso, is the correct answer. The scales texture on that model looks great, says Zadster. It is a rather... I can't see. Where's the camera? It is rather fantastic for the scaly, beautiful scaly detail. It's got tons on it. It's loads of detail on that. And you're kind of getting a bit of a shadow on there, which kind of enhances it even more. So when I get round to painting this, I can, if I want to, spend a lot of time going to town with the scales and things, and doing all different shades for scales. He's kind of got a lean on him, though. He's a bit of a leaning boy. See if I can get this angle. I've got to try and look at the telescreen and get him angled for you guys. He's got a kind of lean to him. He's kind of leaning to one side. That's cool. Yeah, the detail on that's fantastic. Right, let's see. Can I quickly get the shoulder pauldrons done? I should be able to. Let's have a look and see. Haven't done the head yet. Great big head. So I do need to do the head at some point. But I'm not going to do that today because that'll take too long. I won't do the wings. But I've missed the pauldron bit again. There's a bit where it says to put the pauldrons on. I keep missing where it is. Where's the bit with the pauldron? You do that afterwards. For some reason, you put the pauldrons on right at the end. I don't know why. They're going to go on now. So, shut up. Right, I have a choice between the Scions of Sigmar or the Hammers of Sigmar. Hammers of Sigmar. Let's have a look and see what we got. Okay. Here we go. The Hammers of Sigmar. It's Thammer with lightning bolts. The Scions of Sigmar is a sort of circular thing with an S and some swooshy bits. Now, have we got that choice anywhere else? I'm going to have to keep that choice going all the way through. Let's have a look. Or can I change that as I wish? Let me have a look and see. We have... Oh yes, we have the same choice. Hammers or Scions of Sigmar in the shielding goodness. I'm thinking... Where's the shield gone? I'm thinking... There's the shield for the Hammers of Sigmar and for the Scions of Sigmar. That looks more interesting than that. But that looks more... The hammers look more interesting on the shoulder pads. I think we'll go for the hammers, because the hammers have the more interesting pauldron, I think. I'm going to go for the hammers. Why not both, says Beckstorm. Gameplay. Different factions. Again, if I'm looking to sell this, I need to make sure it's compatible with actual gameplay. So I can't make all those correct. I don't have the same creative freedom if I was just making it for a display cabinet. Because I don't know if whoever buys this, I don't know if they're going to buy it to play or just to have on a shelf. So let's get the hammers off. Get these pauldronians off. Get these off and glued on. And I think that'll probably do us for the day. I'm kind of jumping ahead. They're very strange instructions. They kind of leave this to the very end, but you could have done this well ages ago, like when I'm doing it now. But they want you to do this right after you've glued the head and the dude on the back. And it's like, why? There might be a reason. I could be walking into a brick wall at high speed here. Because I haven't put the wings on yet. Could be. Who can say? Also, there's some armour choices as well that actually look a bit more interesting if you use the hammers of Sigmarium. There we go. Okay. Oh, I see why. I guess they maybe they left these bits off because they don't know. It comes after building the dude. I don't know. They could be just making it up. So we have to... ooh, hang on. There may be a reason. Let me do a quick test fit and just see. How does this apply? Let's get these nubs off. Let's get the nubs off first. Nub begun. Now let's have a look and see where these nubs are and how awkward they're going to be. There's no seam lines, which is good. I like our seam lines. Oops. Oops, I used the tips of my nippers there. Oh, I'll get shouted at. Okay, so there's no seam lines on those. That now needs to go, I assume, like this, you see. I don't quite know how it attaches. Let's just randomly move it around and see, wait till it fits, and then we'll guess that's correct. Rather than actually read the instruction, there we go. So that goes on there. Now there's a bit that goes here for the wing. I'm pretty certain it's this bit. And I'm pretty certain I can probably quite easily get that on with a wing attached without worrying too much about this being in the way. I think we're good to go with it. I think we can glue these on now. Let's just glue the damn things on. So that's that side. We'll get these sanded quickly, get them cleaned up, and then we'll glue them on. I think that was what we'll call a day. Fluffy Guts says, good afternoon all. Welcome, Guts of the Fluffiness. Bit late, but you've turned up. That's all we need. That's all we need. Hammer Time says, Nim, magnetise the pauldron so you can swap them out. Nah. Nah. I'll leave them as they are. That involves far more faff, I think, than I'm prepared to make at this particular juncture in time. Now these are all, this is like undergating because all the little nubs are underneath the armour edge, so I can just quickly scrape them down. Yes. The problem with magnetising them is as well, there are also armour parts on the figure that are very, very small and integral to his actual outfit. So it's not just this, you'd have to also be able to swap out, because again the Hammers of Sigmar or the Scions of Sigmar, the logo is also on the shield and some armour. I'll show you armour on his chest. So you have a choice for the shield, but you also have a choice for a chest plate, which is there. So you have to choose which one, and that's integral part of his armour. So although you could potentially magnetise that, it's very, very tiny. I'm not sure you'd be able to successfully do that. And there's also, oh, you've also got his pauldron and his greave there are also different. So you'd be magnetising a whole different bit of the figure, and you couldn't really do that, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think you'd practically be able to swap that out. If it was just the pauldrons, then it probably would have been something I could have done. But when it's all those bits as well, yeah, we'll just give them one option. Besides, why give them the option to change it when what I can do is actually make one of each and sell one of each? This is being made to be sold. So if somebody's canny, they'll have one and then they'll say, right, and I've made another one now. And they'll be like, oh, maybe I should get that one as well, so I've got both. There you go. We shall move those out the way. Where's me? There's my file. I don't think I need my file, actually. Let's just go straight for the sandage. They're all nice flat surfaces. They can all be sanded away quite easily. I don't even know where the camera is now because I moved it. because I am rubbish. Yeah, so there's so many bits on the figure as well that you need to modify that I don't think they can be really magnetised. That, yeah, it wouldn't be worth it. If it was just the pauldrons, and maybe one bit of his armour, that'd be fine. But because it's that and his, his shoulder, his greaves, the shield, his chest plate, yeah, it's not. You're basically rebuilding the whole figure each time there. It's not really practical. Keep in mind, of course, my idea is just to get this thing built so I can put it on the shelf, prime it, and have it sitting on the shelf waiting for paint later on down the line. So, Fluffy Gut said, would have popped along sooner, but pets and foster kittens need feeding, cleaning, etc. Oh, foster kittens. All the aminals. Well, good on you for fostering foster kittens. You get 10 XP for that, 10 bonus points, so we let you off. Because if you're fostering tiny animals, then you're all right in my book. That's that there. There's no seam line removalage that's required. This is awesome. We're liking this lack of seam lineage. What's else chat doing? Right, gotta go, and guys, much love, says Simon Reynolds. Thanks for coming in, Simon. Thank you muchly for popping in. Enjoy the rest of your bank holiday days. Don't forget, by the way, guys, there's no e-model show tomorrow because it is a bank holiday in the UK. Those of you outside the UK that watch the e-model show, it is a bank holiday, which means no areas open, nobody cares. Everybody's drunk and in the garden falling over. So nobody cares. Tomorrow doesn't exist for any kind of business. Well, doesn't exist for me anyway. Yeah, for most of us, it doesn't exist as a working day. So yeah, no e-model show tomorrow. And don't forget, of course, normally Chris would do his Warhamster Sunday live stream, and that's the logo for it. Normally he'd be doing that tonight, but again, because it's a bank holiday, I think he's got some family stuff and nonsense to play with today, so he's not going to be doing his show tonight either. So normally that will be at 8 PM BST after mine. We'd all go off and get our dinners and stuff, but he's not doing it today because I think family stuff. And because he's given himself a bank holiday weekend. And also he's not there anyway because he told us he's at Cadbury World or somewhere. I can't get this to go on now. I figured it out and then I pressed the wrong one. That's why. Idiot. So this goes on there like that. I'll just have a quick look and make sure I've got nothing that's hideously needs sanding and is exposed as... There we go. Awesome. I think this can go on with just the extra thins. Because it's... we'll put a bit of fat on there. We'll put a little bit of fat on there just to be safe. A little bit of fatness. Just a tiny amount on the edge. I appreciate the camera's in just the wrong place now for me doing anything, because all you're going to see is the back of my hand. But what are you going to do? What you going to do? Bad boys, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when they come for you? Sheriff John Burnell, retired. There's a name popped into my head. Right, I appreciate you can't see any of this now because it's going to be in the back of my hand all the way through, so apologies. I moved the camera into just the wrong place for everybody. Everybody's got sadness now. I apologise. I also can't get the brush in there very easily. That's not very good. There should be enough glue in there, though, I think, now, to if I actually stop getting glue everywhere apart from where I need it. I think we should be good to go. A bit of glue in there. What are you seeing now apart from the... You're just seeing the back of my fingers, aren't you? That's really rubbish, Fox. You've done a really bad thing now. I'm going to move the camera up again. See if I can avoid breaking everything. There we go. I'll adjust the focus. Don't panic. Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. Don't panic. Focusing. There we go. Got a bit of a tilt shift look going to it there. That's now glued on. We need to... I will post some kitten pictures in the boom huts. Yes. Because Nim says kittens. Kim says kittians. Kittians, we want pictures. Or I do. Yes, we need pictures of the kittens. Fluffy Gut says, how's the bees? Yes, I was mentioning at the very start of the show, those that don't know, we've got a kitchen extension and there's a nest of tree bumblebees in there. Only a little nest, about that big. But this one species, what they do is all the males hang around outside in a big cloud of bumblebees, waiting for the new queens to come out so they can mate with them and fly off and form new colonies, new nests. They're all harmless. The bees that are hanging around they're all harmless. They don't have stings. They're totally dopey. They're not aggressive at all. I can walk past. I was getting the hose out the day and I'm stood like a foot below them, just watching them. They don't care. They're too busy waiting to get their end away. But this morning, I couldn't see them out the kitchen window until there was a gust of wind, because it's a bit cold today. Gust of wind, and all these bees went past the window as they got blown sideways. I'm like, oh, the bees are out. I thought they were all in, hiding. It's like, oh, no, they are out. They're just all kind of covered in, wind now. This is a cloud of bees shot past sideways. I'm sure in their minds they were all going, whoa! Because you see them there trying to hover outside the nest, and every time there's a gust of wind, they're not blowing around all over the place. Got some crazed loons. Right, I'm going to have to put some thick on here. I'm going to have to kind of guess where it's going to go. So I'll put some thick there, because I'm not going to be able to get the brush in here very easily at all. That goes there like that. I can get some extra thin down there. So yep, the bees are doing fine. It's funny, if you sit and watch them for a while, every now and then you will actually hear, because I say what they do is the males hang around outside the nest in that cloud. It's called a drone cloud, and they hang around there. And basically, there's a queen in the nest, and she's the queen that formed the nest, and she's given birth to lots of new queens as the summer months go on. So she's given birth to new queens, and the males, which I don't know where they come from, I don't know where they live, they don't come from that nest, but I don't know where they come from, but they hang around outside in that cloud, purely waiting for a new queen to emerge. They will grab the queen, do the dirty, which takes a while, so they'll go, and they'll jump on the back of the queen, then the queen will fly off with the male attached. And it's funny because if you watch them, you get this kind of pleasing hum and background drone of the bees all hanging around in a cloud, and suddenly you hear as one of the queens is now like working overtime to fly herself and this male drone off into the garden. It's like this big. It's like suddenly you get this bee that's twice the size of a normal bee making all these like big flappy noises. So like Lancaster bomber flies past your head. They're quite endearing to watch. They are quite endearing. But then, as far as I know, what happens is the queen then the bloke does the do with the queen. He then dies, I assume, and she goes off and finds a hole in the ground and goes in there and hibernates till next spring when she forms a new nest somewhere. So, but they're completely. It's amazing to watch because they're literally like a foot above your head if you stand outside. You can stand a foot away and watch them, and they're not going to harm you. They don't have stings. The males, they're not even got a sting. They don't care. As long as you don't run through them like waving your arms around, they don't care, because all they care about is the queens emerging from the nest. Let's have a look. Yes, but going back to the whole point of that was Fluffy Guts says he will post, I say he, could be a she, I don't know, Fluffy Guts, male or female, will post some kitten pictures in the boom hut. Do it. Make everybody's hearts melt. Excellent work, Pike, says Beck Storm. Ooh, a Dutch angle, very artistic. I can't remember what a Dutch angle is. Is that this one we're in now or the other one? I think this one we're in now, isn't it? Hang on. Do I need more of a... Yeah, more of a Dutch angle. I don't know. Better question, says Quano Man. Have you trained the bees to make you a cuppa? Not yet. I'm a she, says Fluffy Guts. Cool. That's awesome. The difficulty is for me, I never know when I'm talking to someone. Because if I've only got your YouTube name... Like, I didn't know for a long time that Nim was a she, that Nim's a girl. And sometimes I forget. So I often tend to use, like, I say dude or buddy, because it can be kind of, like, ungendered. And it's partly because often I can't remember who people are. But also I can never remember sometimes if somebody's a man or woman. If it's not like, if it's not got the name Bob Smith, I know that's a bloke. But if it's like a typical internet name, I've got no idea. So thank you for clarifying. I think it's awesome. I think we need lots more girls in the boom hut. Lots more female builders. In the hobby in general, we need lots more female builders. But it's nice we've got girls in the boom hut, and I think that's awesome. Meh. So that's the pauldrons on. He's looking quite space horse now, isn't he? Looking quite... Not doing the shouty bit yet, because I've not stuck his shouty head on. But I don't think, apart from the wings, there's not much... Fluffy Gut says, I'm machine on. The photos are on. Yes. My real name is for a male and I'm female anyway. Okay. That sounds very confusing. It's all awesome. That's all we care about. You're awesome because you're a model maker. That's as far as we need to think it, basically. I've always said I don't care if someone's male or female, or either, or not, or whether they're from a country A or country B, or whether their skin is one colour or another colour, or I don't care. I don't care about any of that. All I care is that you're a decent human being, and that you're into model making, and that you're kind of awesome. I attach no value to, you know, race, colour, creed, anything like that. You know, sexual orientation, actual sex. It's not relevant to me. It's not relevant to the Boom Hut. We're there to hang out with fellow model makers and talk about model making. There you go. Done. It's complicated as it needs to get. Let's have a look. What's chat doing? Quanaman says, from the Lil Pick, Nim has, I think she's secretly Jill Valentine from Resident Evil 3. I don't get that. I've never played Resident Evil 3. Lol, and you only found that out because the crappy beginner starter kit build stream hangout thingy. It's true. There is that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Male or female, says LD, they can all have shark teeth. Everything should have a shark mouth. Whatever you're making, stick a shark mouth on it. Nim says, no, that's just a personal character I'm working on a story for. Okay. I don't know what this... I've never played Resident Evil 3. I don't get into... That's the thing with me. I don't do horror. Any kind of horror. Games, books, videos, films. Don't care. Is it just me or is horror kind of boring? I just find horror really boring. I don't know why. It's not interesting at all. Horror and that kind of stuff. Zombies. No interest. No interest. Right, what are we doing? Right, I think we're up to date on chat anyway. It is coming up to 3 minutes to the 6 o'clock, which is coming up to me going to make dinner time. I shall put the lid back on the globe before I start tripping balls. I think that's going to do us. So I've got most of the Space Horse done now. I've just got to stick the wings on. Obviously, that's going to be next week. We've got to stick the wings on, or at least get the wings assembled and decide if we want to stick them on. I think what I'll probably do is not stick them on until I've painted everything. I can leave paint off these two pits here, and then when the wings are painted, everything else is done, I can just glue those on, no problem. That will be fine. So next week we'll probably get the build finished. I say that, I probably won't. It'll take me an entire episode to make half a dude. So we'll try that next week. Try and get it finished for next week. But until then, that's going to do us, I think. It almost is 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Don't forget, as always, we're not doing the live show tomorrow for remodels, so don't bother going to try and watch it because it won't be there. Don't go and watch Chris's stream tonight on his channel, Warhamster Sunday, because he's not there. He's at Cadbury World, so he's not going to be doing his show either. So basically, that's it now. You're knackered till next Sunday. There you go. Well, Thursday with Chris's stuff. But thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, of course, if you'd like to support this channel and help me keep doing what I am doing, you're more than welcome to. You can do it in a number of ways. You can either, most obviously, become a patron through patreon.com/modelmakingguru. I do this for a living, and I survive on the income I get from my patrons, so they are the world to me. If you'd like to help keep the channel going and make sure I can keep doing this kind of nonsense, please go and have a look and consider becoming a patron. Don't forget, of course, though, if you want to do that, you can simply like and subscribe to this channel. If you see an advert on one of my videos, then do consider just sitting through the advert for 30 seconds. It's only 30 seconds, and that helps me out massively. There is also a merchandise store, which you can see in the description below the video. And there's also a merchandise bar with some t-shirts. There are more t-shirts than show up on that merchandise bar. That's just because YouTube is crap, and they can't figure out how to make it work properly. There are more than those two designs. So go and check that out. And last of all, I do have an Amazon store, again, in the description below, where you can buy all kinds of model making products and tools and things like that. It doesn't cost you any more. If you're going to have to buy something off Amazon, like a model making tool or paint or something like that, before you go and find it and buy it, have a quick look in my store. It might well be in there, and if it is, use that link. If you're in the UK, use that link. I make a little bit of income from that. Only a tiny bit, but it all helps. So go and have a look. And if it's something you want to get, but I've not got it in my store, give me a shout. I'll add it in. Anyway, that's going to do us. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to everybody who's in chat. Hang on. There's a comment there. I don't know why, but for some reason YouTube decided that "but do check out my kitten pics" needed to be censored. That just sounds nonsense. Beck Storm says, comedy horror is where it's at. You've got to watch Hot Fuzz if you haven't already, Fox. I might do. Paul Di Tommaso, check out the movie Teeth. I'd rather not. Captain Nemo says, bye, Fox. Bon appetit. Oh, thank you. I didn't know you were in Captain Nemo. Thank you for coming in. Happy Modelling Froods and Toodle Pip says Zadster. Bye-bye. Fluffy Gut says, have a good week. See you all next Sunday. Well, let's say Chris has his stream on a Thursday night. So there you go. Go and watch that. Yes, and Pascal will already be here waiting for it, says Nim. Cheers, Fox. See you all next week. Why am I reading everybody saying goodbye? I don't know. I'm never going to read that. I'm going to be here for hours if I do that, because you'll just keep typing, and I'll keep saying goodnight to everybody. Anyway, yes, thank you very much for watching. Do take care of yourselves. As always, go make something awesome. Go be awesome. And until the very next time, I shall wish you all a very good bank holiday weekend if you're in the UK. I think the US has a 3-day weekend as well, so enjoy the rest of your 3-day weekend. I could be wrong. I could be talking out my house. I don't know. But until next time, thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. You there. Finger pointing. If you missed it earlier on, there was bloodshedding, so you want to go back and watch that. There was bloodshed. And until next time, adios, amoebas.